Recaps and rants, where have you guys been? I've been waiting for 13 minutes for you guys to get here so we could do recaps and rants. Unfortunately, unfortunately, my patience is long. Where have y'all been at? I've been here for 13 minutes just waiting. Anyway, y'all, welcome to Recaps and Rants. Listen, hey, Shelly Mel. Hey, Mior. Hey, not paid by anyone. Listen, let me guys tell you guys something. From now on, anytime somebody sends me hate mail, anytime someone, oh my God, I've been looking all day for this damn makeup palette and I just saw it. Listen, anytime, hey Kimmy, what's going on? Anytime somebody comes and they say anything to me I don't like, anytime anybody wants to get smart with me on YouTube or in real life, from now on, the only response I have for them is your mama, since that's the deepest cut any of y'all have ever heard or felt in your life. Yo mama. Let's just erase all the curse words in the dictionary. Let's erase everything we can say to someone. Matter of fact, in the court of law and the federal rules of criminal procedure, erase all that shit and put, if somebody says your mama, that is the deepest cut anyone, that is the closest you can come to killing a man without laying a finger on them. That is grounds for federal federal sentencing, right? Yo, your mama, that's it. Now let me tell you, we're gonna recap real quick. First of all, I'm beginning to notice a pattern. First of all, let's talk about Miss Gizelle, right? Take it back. Because, God, there were so many, this is layers. Let's talk about the colorist conversation on Real Housewives of Potomac. You remember last year when Andy had a talk on colorism and he only had the three light-skinned people, or four, how many more there, talk about whether colorism existed and whether they think what happened to Candiace was colorism. It shocked me as odd because I was like, how are you going to ask the people not suffering from something whether they think something is something? It reminds me of other conversations we have about skin color. But I remember how when they were like colorism, everybody was like, what? Huh? That was their faces. What? Huh? Colorism? Come on, that's a reach. Give me a break. That's what they kept doing. So when Candiace said in the Black community, it's such a thing called your mama jokes. And Gizelle was like, Gizelle, according to Karen, is an old broken down hoe from Hampton U. I say all this to say, Gizelle, you were alive and thriving, right? You were alive and thriving when your mama jokes were at the pinnacle. So much so that almost every movie that was in the movie theater, right? You were busting it down at Freaknik, according to Karen Huger, right? She said the streets are talking, so I'm just adding to what the streets say. But according to Karen Huger, in the years when you were busting it down during Freaknik, if they happened to take you to the movies, even movies had yo mama jokes. That's how popular yo mama jokes were. So for Gizelle to sit there and frown her face up at the fact that she don't understand what a yo mama joke is, and she don't understand that that's commonly used in the Black community, I said, aren't you an industry plant? Aren't you an industry plant? Second of all, y'all, so listen, this reunion was way better than Beverly Hills, partly because I give a damn, and second of all, because Candiace and all the girls just have so much more life. But do you notice that the way this has to be production? This has to be production because for those of you guys that did not watch the reunion, I think the standout moment, the moment that made me go, what the? Literally, if I had been eating Cheerios, I would have spit them out into my cereal bowl, right? The thing that made me go, what the is she talking about is when Andy said to Candiace, sorry, being too loud. Oh, well, listen, it scared me. Sorry, y'all know I'm easily startled, right? Stay with those fist of furies. But sometimes you have to be like, who is that? Right? That's me. If I hear a sound, I don't expect. I heard a joke about that about Black people, right? If you hear a sound you don't expect, some people get quiet. Y'all side got real quiet, but then you get ready because you never know. Right? You never have to get them the fist of furies, right? Might have to take them, to apparently the school of thought that everybody that watches Potomac is talk smack, get smacked up, right? We fighters in here. We thugging it out. Anyway, listen, I'm going to see, listen. Here's my whole thing with Candiace, right? Also, you guys, I don't have a moderator right now. If I see any foolery in my chat, I am blocking you on here on YouTube. Please don't play with me. I am not in the mood. And let me tell y'all something, my moderators are nicer than me. And since there's no moderators here, please believe these fingers will be going at you. All right. So please don't test me because I really don't care. All right. So here's the thing, right? Here is the thing, right? Andy looked at Candiace and he said, how's that working out for you? And Candiace did exactly what I would have. How's what working out for me, right? So that, oh, hey, B, what's going on? We got my queen B in the house. What's up, B? Me and B have a chit chat tomorrow, but I thought she was snug in her bed. But girl, stay up. We'll talk about people after we get off. B is my girl. She moderates whatever she can. So more than that, B is my girl. We stay chit-chatting. All right? Thank you, Morgan. Morgan was like, Tisa, B's in the chat. Well, guess what, y'all? B's here, right? And my threat's still stand. If I see any shit, I'm blocking you myself after I call you to the front of the class and make a public example to you. Don't play with me because I actually feel like being a little Candiace Diller tonight, all right? So listen, right? Let's get into this. The takeaway for me was when Andy said, how's that working out for you? And Candiace said, how's what working out for me? And he said, your mouth. And then did you catch that slick shit he said? He said, you were almost involved with a physical altercation. Now, I'm no student of gaslighting, but I figured as much as people misuse the word gaslighting, that was one time where it was gaslighting effectively. You were almost physically insulted. Andy, are you implying that Candiace wasn't really physically insulted? Are you implying that bullshit timeline that Monique gave, we actually believe? Listen, whether you believe Monique was justified or not, whether you believe she was provoked or not, whether you believed whatever happened, I truly believe she wasn't. I think Candiace was playing. I think Monique was wrong. You already know my view. It is not up for debate from Candiace, Monique, the Pope, the Vatican, and everybody else, except for biased ass Andy Cohen, whether Monique actually assaulted Candiace, right? Even the goddamn court system agreed that physical assault did happen. They just said it didn't rise to the level of criminal. So what the fuck is Andy talking about? What was Andy? They said even the criminal court said there was an assault, but they said it was mutual consent to engage in that. So what the fuck was Andy talking about? So then Candiace flipped all over that, and she was like, are you saying that happened to me? And he said, you're the common denominator. No shit, Andy. That's what bullying looks like, dumbass. Let me calm down. Namaste. Let me get to him fast. Hey, what's up? Hey, Reggie, what's going on? Y'all hit the like button. What's up, Reggie Greg Blanchard? Hey, Rim, what's going on? Thank you so much, Reggie Greg Blanchard. Follow Reggie Greg Blanchard on Twitter and on Instagram by that handle. I just made my triumphant return to Twitter today. 8 of y'all said, what's up, my little ninjas, right? So listen. So, he said, you're the common denominator. And I said, but that's how bullying works, right? Everybody just piles on everybody. Just because you are the lightning post for people to kick because they think you're an easy target, how is that not victim blaming? How is that not condoning bullying? But we know that Andy gets down with the bullying. It gives him life. He likes when he sees people bullied on stage, right? So then he goes and he says, well, why do I have people calling for you to get fired? Y'all, Andy's trying to get Candiace fired. Mia knows that. And that's when I put it together. I mean, I already put it together, but I was like, okay, confirmation. Andy's trying to get Candiace fired. The network execs probably like Candiace. The producers maybe even like her because that's the new Kenya. But follow me on this. But Andy doesn't like her. I went into that my live last night. Basically, Candiace isn't broken. Candiace is confident. Candiace doesn't need Andy to make her anything, and she knows she doesn't, but she's nice and polite. But Andy likes broken messes of women. And I said, that's odd, because Portia fought people 3 times, and I know for a fact people were calling for her to get fired. I was one of them the first, second, and third time she fought. Monique, people were calling for her to get fired. Who else is it? Because I actually took notes. That's how mad I was that, my chaotic self actually took notes. Who else, right? Ooh, Kenya. There's nothing problematic about Kenya, but I was trying to think about people call for Kenya to get fired all the time. Kenya ain't done nothing to get fired from. You ignore that, right? Portia, she has reason to get fired. Nothing, right? Michael was sued for sexual harassment and was accused of sexually harassing people 3 times on the set. Your crew accused him. Ashley ain't been fired. Michael's still allowed to show up at his time, and he only shows up to go get his boo one an Uber and go home, right? You have people calling to get Lisa Rinna fired. People were calling for Brandy Gamble to get fired. People were calling for Erica, the thief, the liar, the hustler, and the former housewife. Yeah, that Erica. She was calling to get fired. We have Ramona. Shall I continue? Shall I continue? So for Andy to sit there, right? For Andy to be like, people are calling for me to fire you, as if that's never happened before. Okay, so let's get through this recap, all right? And I'm going to see what y'all think, right? Let's get through this recap. Reggie, you got something to say since you gifted me. So let me look through for Reggie's comments and see what Reggie has to say, right? Where's Reggie? Let's see, Reggie. Hold on. Hey, Colin, what's going on? Hey, Kyra, Shelby, Morgan, Sabrina, Inga, Nerva, Mior, Jolie, Morgan D, ACE, woohoo, Gennaro, what's up? Silver Fox, Andy is a horrible host. Banana Fool, Kimmy. Let's see, I finally got to Reggie's super chat. Let me go back. Let's see. Yes, Holy Spirit activate. I hear you, not paid by anyone. Wait, I think I see Reggie. No. Well, Reggie hasn't commented yet. But that's okay because Reggie agrees with me. Okay, so let's get through this, right? I'll look out to see if Reggie says anything else. I'm trying to, or REM, I'm trying to, hey, Rim, hit the like button. I know that's right. Let's see. Candiace ain't sitting next to him, Mior, because Giselle's an industry chart. Oh, that was my point. Y'all, I honestly, to my heart, think that, listen to this. I honestly, to my, yes, and guys, hit the like button. Honestly, to my heart, I believe this is all constructive production. Because think about it. If you take Candiace out and you insert Sutton and the word liar, right? That's what the girls did. Everything Erica did was okay. Everything that Sutton did, no matter what, was the horrible. And how dare they call Erica a liar, right? How dare they call Erica a liar, right? I really think producers pulled all the girls aside and they were like, yo, Sutton is the one. Go at her, do this, do that, keep it going, you'll be good. Because it is ridiculously crazy how much everybody was piling on Candiace. Everybody was piling on Candiace. Everybody. Rim, thank you so much for the super chart. Reggie said, I hope Candiace realizes Gizelle is not her friend. She's just got to get that enemy out. I agree with you. Thank you, B, for the super chat. I really do hope she realizes Gizelle is not her friend. But I think Candiace is smart because if you read the book, All Diamonds Are Rosé, apparently I'm having a book club. You guys can join me. Apparently nobody else has read that book. A shocker. That's when you discover that Gizelle is an industry plant and she prides herself for stirring scenes and being a tool of production. Gizelle is the Lisa Rinna of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But getting back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and the way everybody was in this dual category where the word liar was the worst thing and everybody piled on Sutton, called Garcella bully, did all this stuff, but anything else was like, what are you talking about? That's the same thing that everybody's doing to Candiace. I thought it was odd. We look at Gizelle, right? She said, now look at this, right? She said, oh, hold on, I gotta put my computer in. Okay, so look, she said, oh, I'm sorry. So Karen said, I'm sorry, let's play a little game, right? Let's play a little game called Who Said What, right? Okay, who said this? Match this to the person, right? No one is going to, Candiace, no one is going to stand in the line of abuse with the tongue. No one is going to stand in the line of abuse with the tongue and not react. right? Abuse with the tongue. All right, matches to the person. I apologize to Hampton you, but you were a broken down whore according to the streets. Who said that? Who said that? If you guess Karen Huger, you are right. The woman that said that nobody is going to stand in the line of abuse for abuse with the tongue, and then said, yeah, I called you an old broken down whore for Hampton you, right? Let's see. Who said another one, right? Who said, if I had seen, right, from what I seen and where I was, and Mia had clocked you, right? I would have been like, who said that? Now, who said this? Ray's going to jail. You're cheat. I don't know why she's so worried about renewing her vows when she's busy sliding into people's DMs. Who said that? Now, we don't even have to say that, Gizelle, because Gizelle said worse, but this is just this, right? She said this. Who said this? You are a child. Who said this? You are a child. Match that with who said this. She won't let me talk. So fuck her. So fuck her. So fuck her. The same person that calls somebody a child, right? Who said this, right? If she, based on what she had said and what I heard, and she had clocked you, I would have been like this. Eddie is having an affair, and that's why Mia changed her body. She seems very insecure. Do you think it's because Eddie is cheating on her, right? Now, Mia did get in Gizelle's ass when we seen the reunion. Mia said you had a whole tummy tuck, and did that keep Jamal, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody also said her ass whooping is long overdue, right? Yeah, I just can't. I can't. It's so much hypocrisy that I literally tried to take notes about what the girl said. You see, I was unsuccessful. I tried to keep notes, right, about what the girl said. But the fact that everybody was acting like Candiace was literally the most vicious person. Again, for all of you guys joining me, welcome, welcome, welcome. I told everybody from now on, if anybody has anything smart to say to me, from now on, I don't care what it is, the correct response, and this goes for you guys too in your life, tell them yo mama. Because your mama is the things that cuts the deepest. If you want to come the closest you can to literally cutting somebody's heart out, taking a bite and spitting on the floor, say your mama. They won't ever recover. Your murder. Why? Listen, why are we even going to war? Why are we even going to war? Why do we have skirmishes with countries? All we need to do is pay the Air Force to write over their country, yo mama. And we will conquer this world. Nations will fall. We're having a problem in North Korea. Has anybody considered literally televising a speech of our president saying, yo mama, to Kim Jong-un? This is some serious shit. Kim Jong-un's mom is hurt. There's issues with Kim Jong-un's. Like, the fact that they're sitting there acting like yo mama is anything serious, it literally reminds me of the way they were acting like the word liar is punishable by death. Now, let's get into this, right? There's a few things I wanted to say, and then we're going to bring a few people on. Listen, when Gizelle started, Gizelle had the nerve to say, Candiace finally did it. She's 48, and she finally moved out of her mama's house. And this comes to my point with Candiace and with Gizelle and with her snarky shit. I won't lie. Last year with Monique, I didn't like the way Monique did Candiace. So that made me go easy on Gizelle's ass. But I thought, you know what? I left my critical thinking home last year because two things can be true. The way that Monique did Candiace was dirty and she needed to be punished, right? But Gizelle ain't shit. And Gizelle was starting shit. And Gizelle is messy. And like Katie Ross said in the last time Katie was on the reunion, Gizelle takes pleasure in picking people right. She said Candiace finally did it at 48 years old. First of all, beloved, from what I understand, Candiace is only 34. Second of all, Gizelle, you just doing it now. What are you, 50, 51, 52? Well, I mean, listen, no shade to Gizelle. Anytime a woman gets her independence, great. But bitch, if you're going to talk, if you're going to throw names, if you're going to try to shade people, then let's talk. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. Candiace is what? 2/3 of your age, and she's doing it more and bigger and better than you. We saw the West Wing is still being built out. You are still trying to get a wall on one part of your house. You can't even sleep on one part of your house because it's exposed to the elements. Candiace got a nice I don't know, look like 4, 5, 6, 7, look like at least 6 bedrooms, definitely 7 bathrooms, and she with vaulted ceilings. Meanwhile, you got a Fisher Price Lego house that you're trying to get together, holding brunch events with the birds and the crocodiles and the weeping willows and the daffodils. Gizelle, get out of here. But this also goes into the fact of why I think a lot of people, or maybe Gizelle resents Candiace a little bit, because at the end of the day, Candiace is 34 and she's doing it. Gizelle, this is why you should be a little ashamed of yourself, because when you were doing it, you were with Jamal, and you were chasing after Jamal because he was paying the bills and he was what your status was tied to, and he was this. And now, don't get me wrong, I know there was love there. Jamal tore her out. I know all these things are true, but you guys got to remember, how are we hating on Candiace for her being in a situation where her welfare, her lights, her food, her Trader Joe's bill is tied to an ain't shit in. As much as her, listen, I love Candiace and Chris. I think they're very well suited together. But if Chris leaves Candiace tomorrow, guess what? Candiace still gonna have her Gucci shoes. She's still gonna have her Chanel purse. She's still gonna have her Trader Joe's money. She's still gonna be able to pay her mortgage. So for Gizelle to be like, you finally left your mama's house. You know what, Gizelle? And I don't mean to be vicious, but you know what? Your mama, Gizelle, your mama. But all jokes aside, you know what, Gizelle? If you had stayed in your mama's house a little bit more, maybe you wouldn't have fallen prey to Jamal. And I'm not saying that Jamal's to blame, right? But maybe you wouldn't have fallen prey to Jamal if you had stayed at your mama's house a couple of more months, a couple of more years. Thank you, Unar, for the super chat. I appreciate it. A couple of years. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all feel what I'm saying. Let me get to these super chats real quick before we move on to the next person. Hey, Rim, thank you so much. Oh, Reggie. Reggie said, Gizelle must be an industry plant. Like you said, most people don't have a real storyline or threaten to turn it up or they go. You know what I realized? Look at everybody on the couch that doesn't have a storyline. Ashley, Robin, and Gizelle, they have a storyline. It's their, Reggie, it's their lives being a hot ass mess. They don't just have a storyline they want to show, right? But they got a storyline. So what are they doing? They're the ones piling on to Candiace. Oddly enough, Karen, she says something really, really interesting. We're going to get to that. But they're the ones piling on Karen because, quiet as it's kept, they don't have a goddamn storyline. They do not have a storyline. Karen's not piling on Candiace because she wants her storyline to be her 25th anniversary, and she's trying to turn into like a mama figure. Wendy got a storyline, and that's digging in Gizelle and Robin's neck and not giving them a second to breathe. A Scala, Mia's storyline is just making up shit, telling fairy tales. A Scala's storyline, she's working on it, but she won't give. Now, this is another, right? This is another analogy that I get for yeah, exactly. Here's another thing, right, that I did notice also. Remember how Andy always goes easy on his favorites? The way with Erica, all he could say to her was, you're a piece of work. What did he look at Gizelle when Escala was like, she could use a little updating? And she was like, Gizelle, what do you have to say to that? And Gizelle was like, not a thing, right? All dry. Gizelle, ugh. And Andy was like, you just take a licking and keep on ticking, huh? Andy, shut up. When are we going to get a new host? Can we start rotating hosts? I don't think it's that complicated to host. When people start hating the host more than the people that are sitting on the couch, I think it's time to change. But you know what? Whatever, right? Whatever. So listen, what else happened? Let's get through this really quick so we can actually get Mel in here. Okay, let's see. Hold on, right? Oh, okay. So this is the sad part. Really upset me, right? So Candiace starts crying about her mom, right? Also, you guys, there are 263 people in this chat. Hit the like button, baby. Hit the like button. Don't be in here trying to Simon Gabata to me. Please stop Gizelle Bryan and me. Come on, do not Andy Cohen me. Talking about you've been writing YouTube trying to get me fired. It's not gonna work. But don't be Andy Cohen and me sitting there trying to get me fired from YouTube. Hit the like button. Listen. Well, here's one of the things that really got me upset. It makes me mad the way Andy refuses to let anybody in the Real Housewives of Atlanta or the Real Housewives of Potomac, in my opinion, sit in their femininity and sit in being fragile. I know some of y'all are triggered, right? I know some of y'all are triggered by people crying. I'm not triggered by crying because I've known enough people to know I don't know why people equate crying with weakness. It can denote sadness, it can denote weakness, it can denote anger, it can denote aggression, it can denote act up, you about to get smacked up. Anger is just an overwhelming outpouring of emotion. The same way someone might curse somebody out, somebody will erupt in tears. It's an overwhelming surge of emotion. And before that emotion completely takes over your body and makes you act out of character, you let it out through your eyes. Welcome to human evolution. For those that you guys don't know, I just explained 3,000 years of evolution in 30 seconds. You welcome. All right. So Candiace, they ask about what's going on with Chris, right? A lot of y'all were like, well, Candiace could have cursed her mom out. I think some of you guys don't know dysfunctional family members. When your family is dysfunctional, between them acting up and a stranger, and this is why people teach you not to get involved in family business. Because when it's all over, they mad at you. What they gonna do? Disown their mom and let you off the hook? Or are they gonna curse your ass out and drag you down the street so they can live another day with their mom? Because at the end of the day, there is their mom, and it's a complicated situation. That's why Mia should have known above everyone, don't get involved in family business. Just like when Candiace even dared broach the subject of your mom, you were all on like Kung Fu Panda trying to hype up and like karate chop her ass, right? With your fits of fury. So I didn't even know what that problem was. So Candiace starts tearing up. And I felt bad for her because Andy's looking at her cold-blooded. And Gizelle's trying to make a joke like, oh, fold the tissue. No, you fold it. Like, this girl is crying over something real that hurt. And y'all just see this as an opportunity for ratings, an opportunity to clown her, right? So she says, she did curse her mom out. And it created a lot of problems in her family because Chris, I know everybody keeps trying to paint him as a bum, and Ashley, Chris gained a lot of weight. Michael lost a lot of hair. Shut up, Ashley. And thank God Candiace is like, it was a pandemic. Girl, go ahead somewhere, right? So she was like, oh, well, Chris's my in-laws watch this shit. And you see my mom disrespecting my husband, and I don't know how to fix it because I've had to sideline my mom. Now, here's the interesting thing Karen said. Right? Karen said, hey, right? She said, hey, that I need to defend Dorothy in Dorothy's defense. And Candiace was smart because I realized something right in that moment. One of the reasons Karen doesn't respect Candiace is because Karen is friends with Dorothy. Now, peep this on this. We saw that the last 3 seasons, right? Dorothy and Dorothy and Karen became really good friends. First, it was Karen and Candiace, and then Dorothy befriended Karen. And that's when Karen started saying, Candiace is a child. Candiace needs to grow up. She started getting a very negative opinion about Candiace around the time she started getting close to Candiace's mom, right? Now, Candiace's mom was on the set talking shit about her to everyone. So we see that dynamic, right? And when Karen tried to interrupt and say, well, hold on. Let me just defend Dorothy. Candiace was 100% right in over talking Karen, because at this point, bitch, you the ops, you a double agent, I can't trust you, and whatever you're going to say, it's not going to be in my defense, it's in my mom's defense. As the way I see Dorothy trying to sour everybody's relationship to Chris, trying to sour everybody's relationship to Candiace, the fact that she will let people clown her own daughter in a way to make her own daughter heel to her, because that's what it is, right? I don't know if you guys saw it, and Mel, we're about to bring Mel in 1 second, right? I don't know if everybody saw it, but her mom is such a control freak. She used to control by money, and now that she can't control her by money anymore, now she's trying to control it by talking shit about her, to publicly humiliate her, to bring her to heel. So if I see that as my mom and you're cool with Karen, that means that Miss Dorothy ain't saying nothing but smart ass shit about about Candiace, all these damn CKs, about Candiace to Karen, and Karen's been eating up. That's how Karen's opinion of Candiace changed to her being a spoiled brat and not grateful. She needs to grow up and she needs to do. Dorothy is hella manipulative. I know she's a psychotherapist, but she's also very, very toxic. And again, I love Candiace. I hope she works things out with her mom. I don't know her mom's situation, so I'm really just speaking about what I see on about what I see on camera. That's all I can actually say, right? So I can do that. But I would just say that she looks like hell of toxic. It's just me. It's hella toxic. All right. So 1 second, guys. Okay, so it's hella toxic. I don't know if y'all agree with me. We're going to get to the rant part in a second, but let me just get through my opinions, right? Let me get through my opinions and what I feel, and then we can get into the rap time, right? Okay, right? Look at the lie she said. She said her name was on the deed. Her name ain't on the deed, but that's the thing. I know toxic family members, and I know she was lying about her name being on the deed. So we know, right? We say the way Med, that's paid prostitution. When Candiace said, I'm paying my husband in love. Candiace, being that girl saying, you know what? You would know. And she said, that's right. I do speak about things I know. And then Andy so bad wanted to tell Candiace, calm down, you're being a mess. But he couldn't because Mia's the one that started it and Mia's the one that kept it going. And you know what? I figured out why everybody is so mad at Candiace. Right? And we're going to have to debate this in the rant part, but let me speak on my recap part. I figured out why everybody's so mad at Candiace. Candiace, to say that Candiace is better than it belies the nuance and the art to what she does. See, here's what they're mad about. And here's what they mean when they say, but Candiace, you're more vicious. Everybody tries to snatch each other's souls. Real Housewives of Potomac is vicious with their reads. Everybody gets vicious reads. The only problem is Candiace has an innate insight into understanding what makes people click. Candiace is very, very adept at sizing people up, seeing where people's trauma and brokenness lies and poking there. So meanwhile, Karen says to Gizelle, you're just an old broken down whore from Hampton U. When she said that, she wanted to see Gizelle crumble. She wanted to see Gizelle cry. She wanted to see Gizelle get broken. She thought she'd hit that spot, boom, to make that giant fall, right? The thing is, Karen had misestimated where Gizelle's ego lied. Because you know how it is. When you hit somebody with a hayuka in the ego, they just crumble, right? That's what Karen was trying to do. When Gizelle went after Monique, she was trying to do a hayuka, right? Finish her in her ego. Mia tries to do that all the time with her remarks about people, but they always misjudge where the soft part is. So they go for the death hit, and it's like in the movies when somebody goes for that death hit, but then the hero moves their head at the last minute, and it's just like, and they end up punching the ground. But here's the thing. Candiace is like the silent assassin. She doesn't have to dig deep and say you're an old broken down hoe from Hampton U. She doesn't have to do any of that stuff. All she has to do is size somebody up and say, yo mama. All she has to do is size somebody out and be like, you mean when your mommy was sleeping under a tent? The problem isn't the fact that Candiace is good at being more clever or reads or this and that, because not Gizelle, but Karen can read the fuck out of someone. But Karen misestimates where their ego lies. Candiace sees exactly where your soft spot is. And if you push her and if you test her, like any Saggy queen, she will hit the destruct button on your ego and watch you fall to the ground. And that's why they're mad. That's why they're mad. She's better at it because she's better at seeing. She's just more emotionally intelligent to see and a better judge of human nature and human motivation than any of those ladies. Yes, Karen, you are maybe even a better reader than Candiace, but Candiace knows that she can see the ABCs and hit the weak mark and press self-destruct on everybody's ego in that room. That's why Candiace should be entombed as one of the great readers of our time. She really is. But that's why the girls are mad. And this is where the double standard comes in, right? Because in the criminal court, in the U.S. court systems, I don't know where you live, intent matters, right? That's why there's attempted robbery, attempted this, attempted that. Intent matters. Does it matter If you broke into my house to rob me, right? And you go up into my safe and you open the safe and the safe is empty. Do you get to turn around and be like, why are you calling the police? Why are you getting all upset? I ain't take your ring, but girl, you intended to rob me. And the intent is enough for me to press charges on your ass. Take her away to jail with you, right? But for some reason, the Real Housewives, they don't want to do on intent because none of this shit ever lands the way they want. They want to see, but what effect did it have? That's not the way it works, beloved. Because if your intent had actually landed and had you been more astute or more intelligent, right, it would have landed. It would have landed. So I don't know. We just go by intent, right? So Candiace goes in saying Chris is mad hurt, right? The in-laws are watching. I can understand that. You got my son up here supporting you, and your own mom is playing me. I can understand why she feels like an outsider, and people are mad at her. Now, quiet as kept when she did that. I was sitting there thinking, damn, ain't that Candiace's storyline for next year? Listen, I know, I hope her family's healed, but that's a really good storyline for next season if she comes up, right? Now, listen, Candiace did say that she takes issue with Mia blaming if her mom relapses on her. And I agree with her. Mia, girl. And then Mia, oh, my mom wanted to come on because she wanted to tell her story. Mia, shut up. We saw the scenes. We saw when your mom was breaking down. We saw when your mom didn't want to talk about. Girl, shut up and stop lying. Mia just makes up shit in that moment. Mia's one of those people, if you want to fuck with her, I would literally just start asking her different questions about different things and just watch her flip her story back. It would be like, y'all want to see something funny? Mia, what you eat for breakfast? Eggs. Really? But I thought poor people ate eggs. Oh, you don't eat eggs? You only eat sausage? But I thought only bad bitches ate chicken sausage. Oh, you ate chicken sausage? But you know that the baddest bitches only eat waffles and eggs. Oh, you ate waffles and eggs? Really? But I thought the super bad bitches skip breakfast and just go straight to lunch. Oh, you skip breakfast and go. I would have sit there at a table and just fuck with Mia and just said that shit and just watched her lie. And that would have been the humor for the afternoon. Just watch her lie and be like, all right, Mia. Anyway, girl, what you doing later on today? Oh, you having dinner with Barack and Michelle Obama? Oh, just Barack? Really? Because I heard he was having dinner with Colin Powell. Oh, word, you got invited to heaven to go have dinner with Colin Powell? Wow, Mia. Y'all, did you hear Mia was having dinner with Colin Powell? Yep, in heaven. Yo, what you wearing to heaven, Mia? I would literally just sit there and ask her dumb questions and clown her the whole time, right? But Andy's going to entertain Mia because he needs anything he can to down Candiace, right? Now, listen, what else can we talk about? There was one other thing I'm going to talk about before we bring Mel on, right? Thank goodness Candiace has signed with a label. Thank goodness Andy's mad about that. Because here's the thing. Because she did that with her own money and she did it in off season, I don't believe Bravo. And that's another reason why Andy's hating. Bravo doesn't own anything about Candiace. Remember what Candiace said in All Diamonds Aren't Rosé? Join my book club if you haven't seen it. And we also talk about it in my members only live. Sign up is only $4.99. I give deep tea. Tattle Tells in the chat. Let them know how good the tea is. You can watch the old archives. The last one just came out Friday. We're coming out with a new one this Friday. You can watch it on recap, or it's a small group, so you can always call in, talk, chat. Everything gets said, right? Now, what was I saying? Oh, right. So she was like, okay, you know, she's financed that whole project out of her pocket with the 10,000, which a viewer had a point. Mia, how are you calling everything? How are you calling anything low bottom when you came from the dirt? And no shade to anyone that came from the dirt and made it. But don't come for the dirt and act like you've been drinking martinis all your life. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the American dream, to come from the dirt and make it. But once you come from the dirt, to turn around and call somebody low budget, to call somebody low budget when your mom just got out of jail and might still be the thing of relapsing, I wish that woman all the luck in the world. I really, from the bottom of my heart, do. But why is your daughter calling people low budget? Because we really want to start calling people's names, Mia. Okay, right? But since Candiace furnished that whole thing for 20,000, I'm sorry, 10,000, and her low budget thing, Bravo has no rights to any of her songs. You know, Twirl, when she performed on Watch What Happened Live, when Luann on Fabulous, that was all produced by Bravo, meaning they front the cost and any money they make from it, they got to split with Bravo. That's why Bravo is not promoting Candiace on the show and why Andy isn't on Watch What Happened Live because he didn't have any money in with Candiace. So even Coffee and Cream, that shit, right? That shit was Coffee and Cream was Ashley's being funded by Bravo, right? I know the worst thing. Have you remember Coffee and Cream? Have you ever had a feeling? I'm sorry, no, let me do it right. Have you ever had a feeling? Drinks. Oh my God. She should have named that Coffee and Curdled Milk. That's the new name of Ashley's song. Coffee and Curdled Milk. How dare you compare coffee and curdled milk, right? To goddamn dry back. You make me come back, come back. How? But anyway, that's what he's mad about. You don't got any money in there. So one, you want Candiace to fail because you don't want any housewife to get on without you, right? So you want Candiace to fail. Two, your ego because you think you're a kingmaker. You can't stand that Candiace made her own kingdom and got the king that she loved right next to her, right? There's so much going on with that. But yeah, it's jealousy, it's hatering. And you know what? Bravo, Andy, all of them, they need their butts kicked. But anyway, let's go into what the chat is saying, right? Listen, Diva75, good question. I've been going all back and forth about that book. Is it worth it? Question for me. Answer, Diva. You can join the book club. You can grab it on Kindle. You can do it 8 days. And if you don't get any fingerprints on the real book, you can always return a book to Barnes & Noble. But or Amazon, as long as you don't get any stains on the book, or you can return it on Kindle after 8 days. Join me for the next book club. It's going to be this week. I actually read from the book. We chat, we review, we toss it up, we give our opinion, and I sprinkle it with insider tea about whether that's true, whether that's what we're lying, what we know. We have sources out in that area. So you can join the book club and actually see if it's worth it. You know, I'll tell you one thing it will do. It will infuriate you about Andy Cohen. I always found him to be particularly hard to take and unlikable in the recent years, right? In the recent years. And yeah. It confirms that Bravo has a problem, in my opinion, with the way they treat women, the way they treat strong women. And a lot of things that we see on TV were setups. They were just things of production, you know? Yeah. It's just what it is, right? It is what it is. B said it's sand and sour milk. Have you ever had a feeling? Later, and then the thing, you want to talk about low budget. Ashley filmed Coffee and Cream in the bedroom of that modern cement marvel in the middle of downtown Baltimore, Maryland. I don't even know where Michael's apartment is, right? Listen. It's Coffee and Love. I thought it was Coffee and Cream. It's Coffee and Curdled Milk to me, right? Let's see. Listen, Tosh Grant, I completely agree with you. He needs to fight out. He needs to let her fight it out battles with the ladies and then correct her in private without cameras. Because you know who did that? And you know what? I know I was very, very hard on him in the beginning and on Mia's ass. If you don't know what I'm talking about G. I was hard on both of them in the beginning. I eat crow when I have to. Both of them grew on me, but G treats Mia the way I want Chris to treat Candiace. And here's the thing with Chris. No one's perfect. Chris and Candiace have a great relationship. Chris seems to be like a really, really good guy to me. You get what I'm saying? But I will say that the way G lets Mia go at it, and if he needs to, he steps out the room because he has faith Mia can handle herself, right? And then when she's like, I want to go, he's like, all right, I'll take you home. That's what you do. I don't understand this weird thing in Potomac where it's like, no, you need to follow your man. Fuck that. Let me tell you something. The way they tell men to stay out of women's business, if you're with me, that and anyone in my family, that means you stay the fuck out of our business when I'm arguing too. You coming in and telling me to shut up or physically remove me from an argument is getting in women's business. And who is here? Who is here with a penis? Get out of here. Stay out of women's business. So for everybody acting, oh, you need to listen to your man. Why are you talking to me in the coven? In the house of womanhood, get your ass out of here and I'll see you in the living room. Or if you're that bad, go wait in the goddamn car. You don't want to wait in the car? Get an Uber. I'll meet you at home and we'll talk. Honestly, I just this weird separation between you need to listen to your man, but your man needs to see out a woman's business. And me arguing is women's business. So let's see what else is going on. Oh, and we have the lovely Mel NYC's joining us. What's up, Mel? How you doing?
Hello, good. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Late nights, late nights, late nights.
Oh, I know you was reading the check. I'm sorry. Oh, girl, I don't know. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's good. So, what was your opinion of this the episode?
It was okay. I mean, it was alright. It wasn't nothing to really write home about, but it was pretty interesting. I thought it was going to be worse than it was, and it was better than Beverly Hills. So I'm happy about that.
Listen, you know what? Mel, I gotta agree. I gotta disagree with you guys. I thought this reunion compared. Beverly Hills was a 5. I thought this was a for the first one, I thought it was 8.5. We all know the first one doesn't give. I know they got on Gizelle and her tax problem. Nobody really cares about Gizelle and her tax problem. I mean, if that's the case, why are we still talking about Jamal? Nobody cares. Let's move on. I really like the fact that they talked about Karen and Gizelle. Karen got caught in a lie saying she ain't never talked about Gizelle's marriage, but then Gizelle got caught in a lie when she said, I ain't never talk about your marriage. That's all you did that implied that Karen was slipping in people's DMs. And you also implied that Ray was in love with like your girlfriend that was a partner for every hue. So I don't know. I thought this was really, really good. I like the way that Candiace kept her composure. I like the way she held her own. And let me tell y'all something. Everybody always calls Candiace a child, but what child you know can sit on the stage while there are 6 women coming after her? 6 women. Well, I'm sorry, 5, because Ascala and Wendy were holding their own. But you got 5 women piling on you all at the same time, all yelling at you, all over talking you, and you got your goddamn reunion host only focus on you. Y'all, everybody talks. So Erica Jane was on there saying, yo, run me my check. Everybody needs to thank Candiace for their plot line, for the ratings, but I do think it's dangerous what producers are doing, actually making her such a focal point for anger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, yep.
So, what else did you think of the episode?
Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay, so yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did write a couple of things down. I mean, I think you already covered it, most of it. Okay, so I thought that that when Ashley said, the nickname that her husband gave her, we saw it in chat just now, was called Mr. Darby. He called her Darby Barbie. I said, really?
Darby's Barbie. Yes.
Darby? I was like, really? Oh my gosh, that was that. I mean, another little ingredient about Mr. Michael. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Um, Oh, I thought it was funny that Giselle just seemed to be on, just been sitting on ready for Candace for some reason. I don't know what happened in between the filming of the finale and the reunion, but the girls sometimes, and I'll include Candace with this too. Sometimes they are so weird because if 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 you have an issue with somebody, why are you having dinners with people like a couple of days ago? Why you? It all confuses me. So I didn't see
What do you
why
mean?
just well, I don't know, not Candace, it's herself, but I think Gizelle. If you have some issues with Candace, why are you going to dinners with her when you were in LA? Why are you so hostile to her at the reunion? I mean, I wouldn't say she was like argumentative, but she definitely
Mm,
was really defending Mia, in my opinion. She was definitely sort of chiming in whenever Candace wanted to make some good points, and she would chime in to try to protect her, who basically is Karen's friend. So I don't think she needs any protecting. So that was pretty interesting to me. But I did like the fact that Candace, was like, when they talk about her fashion, which is one of those things that they kept bringing up, well, Giselle's fashion, and she said, "Listen, what works for me, for what Candace said, she said what works for her, it may work for other people, most likely, but what works for Giselle, it don't work for her. Like her clothes don't look good on her, more or less, it don't look good on anybody else."
no, that's so true. That was an interesting point about what is going on, about them hanging out afterwards. I really honestly do think Giselle is an industry plant. She thinks everything is just, like she said in the book, everything's just business. I think that she does like Candiace, but she will throw anybody to the wolves because this is how she is supporting herself. This is her only income. And this is the most income she's ever made in her life. So she is hustling and working and shucking and jiving for that check. I could see
That's true.
Candiace. Yeah, I could think Candiace would be around them because Candiace, as much as they all talk trash about her, and it shocked me that only 3 people said they listened to the album. Even Karen said she didn't. I said, y'all a bunch of haters. Like, you ain't gotta like someone, right? Oh my God. Welcome Brendan 2T, a new member to the Tattle Tells. Brendan, what 2T? What's up? Welcome, 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 welcome. But yeah, I think she's around them because she wants to let them delight in the success. Candace ain't got no worries. I don't know what's going on for a record deal, but right now the future looks bright. She's getting her MBA. She should be about to graduate, right? She got signed to a real record deal. She's hosting stuff. Her ponytail's always tight and sitting and flipped up just right. She's really starting to come into her own. Ashley is trying to have a third baby with Michael. So yeah,
Yeah.
Ashley,
Oh,
Ashley
Lord.
never want Michael to touch her ever again.
That's true. But you know what? That's true. That's true. I was going to say, okay, what else I was thinking? I was thinking the message from Nikki, that seemed so produced. I was like, it didn't look like the ladies really was like, they was like, oh, that's so bad. I'm so sorry she couldn't make it. I'm thinking, did the producers tell you to say that? Because it didn't look like they believed that she wasn't there. For me, it looked like they kind of knew she was there and they all played along, like, sort of that thing at Christmas where you say, there's no presents for Christmas. And all the kids were like, you're right. Yeah, it felt that way. It's like, no, we ain't believing you, trying to do a trick on us. So they all played along. And then Gia, well, I already said this, Gizelle protecting me. But this was crazy. So it still didn't make sense to me what Mia was saying about getting $10,000 a night. She said she was getting $10,000 a night for some strip club or whatever. And I don't know about the stripping world, but that seemed, it's still none of the parts was mixing up for me. But Mia just said that she didn't fall in love with G because of his money. She fell in love with G because of his help for one of her friends who had some tragedies in Haiti. And it was interesting. Well, that's what she said. But I was also thinking it was interesting for me, the question we had when we were doing the recap a couple of weeks ago about Mia's mom, the fact that, there was some, she was on the trip, she came back, they wanted to have more time together, and then they had a big argument off camera. Well, Mia's mom is taking care of the kids at the reunion, so maybe if she's there, we'll see more of that relationship. Like, I don't know. That was a good little nugget that she said, look, she's taking care of my kids right now, so there they go. They still doing that.
Which made me believe that Mia was lying about that too, because it seemed odd to me. That's
Oh,
like your
Lord.
mom's recovering, you don't trust her. This is the first time with your kids, and you were so nervous, but then y'all decide to have a staycation and leave the kids with her 3 more days unannounced. And at first, when they were trying to when G was like getting on the phone and she was like, "These ain't my damn kids, G." Yeah, it was ignorant to say, but I said, just because Mia's mom is recovering doesn't mean she doesn't have a life or a job or obligations. How many people, for people in their family, can leave it with great, but then call them and be like, guess what? We're going to be back 3 days later than we said we were. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, wait a second. What's going on? Like, you're going to have to give me a heads up or notice if you want me to take another 3 days out of my life. These are my grandbabies. I love them, but please. You know what? I don't know. Do you think Mia is actually faking about how involved her mom is with her life? Or do you think, who knows with Mia? Who knows? Is that Mia's even real mom? Mia might have paid an actress to come and play her mom. That's how deep Mia gets with her lies. So I don't even know,
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that at the end of the reunion, Candiace she had a good point. I wasn't going to go there, but I was going to say, I'll say it now. Well, she said, you know what? A lot of things you said about me this year was pretty crazy. But the biggest thing you said, I got to sort of call you on right now, sister, which is if your mother falls off the wagon, God help her, and we don't want that to happen, that you said it would be my responsibility. Well, that was low. And even Wendy chimed in on that. So, yeah, I don't know. Wendy, excuse me, Mia brought her mom up there for, maybe a storyline of some sort. I don't know. But it's really interesting that they somehow know they're connecting now off camera with the kids. Yeah, that's pretty interesting to me. Then I wanted to say that Gizelle tried to imply that Karen was trying to control me at the beginning of the season. And I said, I was thinking, Gizelle, are you implying that Karen is trying to control Mia the way you control Robin? Like she, it's always that's always Giselle's weak point, where she always calls out other people for the things she does. Like even when it comes to this big conversation they was having about Jamal, and they was all sort of really not laying into her, but really like nudging her, like, come on. Like as I said here on this recap, the reason I don't connect with Gizelle is because she'll sit there and she'll do things, yes, and other people will have reactions. But when things are done to her, rightly so, sometimes not rightly so, she will sit there and act like she doesn't have a reaction. Then she'll take her sneaky self and start researching people, looking up things, setting people up, talking behind people's back, flipping on them, doing all the most. If her feelings have been hurt, that's been my assertion, is that her feelings. She's a very sensitive woman. She gets very hurt, and and I think the biggest time we saw the real true face of her when she was talking to Monique a couple of years ago in Paris, and she said, "Listen, you try to take a shot." You miss, but I never forget. And when I get a chance, I'm going to take you down. Well, this, so I think that she'd rather be sneaky behind the scenes and take people down than to really show that she's hurt by some of the things that happens to her. So it really was annoying that the girls was like, oh my God, listen, the girl came out with a binder. The man cheated on you again. You didn't feel anything. Like, what is going on with you? She never really know how to show her feelings when it comes to things. So I think that's really annoying.
Actually true. That's actually true. It's actually making me think also that maybe when she says I'm like a ninja, I'm going to get you. Now that we know that she is an opt and works closely with producers, she is a pawn in production. Maybe that's what she means. She's like, all right, go ahead and get that one because I'm going to be in the writer's room and your storyline going to be, you're lost at sea. Now, someone said that Gizelle is making money from her podcast and from Shade Room. And
that's good.
It's from podcast, it's from Shade Room, and that's how they're actually supporting themselves. And I would say that is bullshit. And I'm sorry, not Shade Room. And I would say that is bullshit because if you guys don't know, the chat room was supposed to be canceled, but they got a second or third season, whatever it was, this year because they were allowed to cover for Andy for the 2 weeks while he was on vacation. So I think What's Happened Live was coming on every night for some reason. I don't know. But they were covering for Andy. The reason they were covering for Andy is one, they got a whole season worth of episodes in while Andy was on vacation. So to say it was season 2, yeah, technically. Second of all, when they were having other Bravo talent on there with them, they were really auditioning them to see if they could find the same energy that was there with Kate Chastain. Kate Chastain was Kate, yeah. I think that's in Kate, whatever. She was a big
Kate Chastain.
Oh, Kate Chastain. Okay. Kate Chastain was a big part of the show. A lot of chemistry came from her. It was actually her idea. So when she left, the show was lagging. They were trying to see because, Portia's a producer's pawn. Giselle's Portia's not a producer's pawn. I take that back. Giselle's a producer's pawn. Portia, it's just a mess. Producers like following around filming. So they were trying to see if they could get a third or maybe even fourth person up in that mix to save Bravo for next year. You guys keep an eye on this. Bravo chat room is not going to be renewed. It actually technically wasn't renewed now. It was just a last dip effort that Andy Cohen did because he loved Portia and Gizelle so much. He wanted to do what he can help. As far as Giselle's podcast, do you know how many listeners you need to have to actually make a profit on the podcast? I'm not talking about profit that you can take your kids out to lunch once a week. I'm talking about profit that can help you get a wall to go right? A wall to go on the back of your house. That's what you need. Right? And a podcast is not the numbers that Gizelle and Robin have. Now, granted, this podcast might grow to be a really, really big thing. I listened to 1 or 2 episodes. Not into it, right? But that said, the podcast could really go, and I'll probably go and listen to a few other episodes and see if it gets good. But if it does get big, then yeah, this could be a big moneymaker for her. But as of right now, the only thing paying her bills and the only thing keeping the west wing, north wing, east, south, north, and that lawn and driveway from being completed is her episode checks and also the money that she's going to get to Bravo. If you guys don't know, Bravo takes all the money you're supposed to get. It used to be they paid the housewives at once, but that's when people wouldn't film scenes, wouldn't show up, wouldn't do this, wouldn't do that. So now they pay you what they agreed to, but they pay you per episode. And you get your bonus and your other pay for showing up for the 4-part reunions. So watch this. Watch after this reunion's over. Let's take a look at Gizelle's house and actually see what got done, because you know she was waiting for those paychecks. And hey, what's up, tee hee hee? But that's what I gotta say about Gizelle and her Bravo chat room. Yo, we got Bondi Blue in the chat. What's up, Bondi? If you guys don't know, follow Bondi Blue. Of course, you guys know her. She's super big on YouTube. She gives great recaps. I used to watch her Real Housewives of Potomac recaps. Bondi, I never agreed with you about the Monique Candiace situation, but I still love your recaps, girl. She's also on the ladies first panel. They just interviewed nephew Tommy from not Love is Blind. Is it Bondi? What's the name of that show? It's a dating show. I actually did recaps for it. It's in Houston. Anyway, go and watch Ladies First Panel. They're amazing. I love them. They had me on. I'm not just saying that because they had me on. I say it because I watched them too, you know? So yeah. Liberia Rose, thank you so much. Gizelle is trying to take Mia away from Karen. I don't even know if she has to do that much. Mia seems to me like she is smart enough not to get loyal to anyone. Do you know what I'm saying, Mel? Candiace
Yeah.
is a loyal person, and that trips her up. But do you think Mia's a loyal person?
I'm confused by me. I don't know. I mean, I think that that's sort of been a running theme for me. I mean, she has flashes of real moments. There's something there, but she's very complex. I think a lot of them, you know, what I think is so interesting about Potomac in general, that a lot of the ladies on the show are very deeply complex. So in contrast, when you have Atlanta, it's pretty cut and dry. And a lot of times they're a little shady, very shady in some issues. I think Kenya is very complex because of the way she does her relationships with her husband, and her mother has the issue. So that's very complex. But everybody else is pretty basic, pretty simple. But they very, you know, they're just very compelling to watch, whatever. That's probably why the ratings is there. But with the girls on Potomac, it's deep. Deep, 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 deep. I mean, it's just so much there. Whether, you know, it's just so much. Like even with Candiace at the show, she was having a Kleenex moment, and it was unfortunate because I knew that people was gonna make memes about it. People was gonna drag on the blogs about it, and all this kind of stuff. I was like, oh girl, don't do that little square thing with the Kleenex, because people can get you. But she was crying because she cussed her mother out behind her mother being messy at the video shoot. And so that was
Yes.
complex. And then Mia's mother issues is very complex. And Gizelle is, you know, so that's all crazy. But do I think that Mia would leave Karen altogether? I don't think so, not at all. I think that, as they said at the reunion, they said that they're not codependent. I guess that was a little thrown a little shade at Gizelle and at the Blue Eye Bandits, because I think that the two of them have to do everything together, and they get very threatened if either one of them get into a friendship with somebody else, and then, you know, they start having issues or whatever. But I think with Karen and them, they can actually have, you know, just be themselves. So I think that Mia will continue to be herself, and it will always be people pleasing whoever she's in the room with. I think that the funny part about Gizelle too was that a scholar with her cute little self came up there, and Andy, of course, being who he is, said, "You dress beautifully, and the viewers love your fashion. Who would you want to help on the panel?" And everybody favorite victim is Miss Gizelle. And she said, "You know what? I really don't care about my fashion, but I wanted to say, Gizelle, that's apparent. It's apparent you don't care about the fashion, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the issue. You don't care. I mean, you know, that's just how it is. It looks. I mean, it's apparent when you go out the door. I think even the birds know you don't care about your fashion, more or less the viewers. So, you know, I think that if a scholar want to help you, take the woman's help. She can help you. Come on."
Take it. Listen, everybody. First of all, Bondi Blue. But first of all, so I'm gonna get to what you said, Mel, because those are some good points. But Bondi said we can agree to disagree about last season. You know, Andy was out of line because she said, "But I'm definitely defending Candiace this season." Listen, Bondi last season had a different opinion than I did. I love her recap, so I watched them anyway, even though she had me punch in the air. Bondi, we would love for you to join the chat if you want. Let me know if you want to join the cat, or let B know, and I'll drop the link for you. But Bondi had me punch in the air last season, but her recaps are always so funny. I end up watching them anyway. She just, you know how when you don't agree with your friend, she's the friend in my mind. I was like, girl, okay, whatever. But the fact that even Bondi is saying that Andy was out of line for what he was doing and the way he treated Candiace, I know that they're trying to fuel anger, but I think they overestimate how many people dislike Candiace. I know a lot of people on Twitter dislike her, right? But Twitter don't like no one. You could go to Twitter and be like, today was the luckiest day of my life. God bless me. And they'd be like, they would find a way to rip you apart. They would drag God. They would do everything they could. Twitter is as
That's
sensitive
right.
sometimes, right? So I think they hear people talking about Candiace like that, and they think, yeah. And honestly, I think Andy personally doesn't like Candiace to begin with. Now, I will say, right? I will say that to your point, Gizelle doesn't have fashion. I agree with you. Everybody was applauding Gizelle for going to Halloween as Vanessa Williams, and I said that's the only time. Like, of course you would go as Vanessa Williams. That's the last time you've been hot. You shopped out your closet. You didn't have to go to a Halloween store. You shopped out your closet. All your shit is the hot girl between 1983 and 1993, which was your prime. And after that, you ain't never enter a store. And when you did, it was only to re-up. When your gold sneakers started falling, you had to go re-up. So you trotted your ass in to Neiman Marcus and got another pair of tacky gold seeking sweaters.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what? But you know what's so funny? The gag is that Vanessa Williams had to be 10 years older than her, and Vanessa Williams on her worst day looked better than Gizelle looked as a Halloween imitation of Vanessa Williams. I mean, she looked like a hot mess. She did not look like Vanessa Williams. She looked like a busted down version of Vanessa Williams. Vanessa
She
Williams
really
wouldn't come out
did.
looking at. No.
You remember Vanessa Williams. You were just like, Gizelle, nice try, nice try, nice
Yeah,
try.
nice try.
Light
Yeah.
eyes do not a Vanessa Williams make it.
No,
Okay,
it do not. No, it do. Vanessa Williams wouldn't go out to the house looking the way, looking the way Gizelle tried looking at that get up. No. Now listen, Giselle's a beautiful woman, and she could do it if she had some good people getting her together. But yeah, that costume that she tried to pull off, that was an insult to Vanessa Williams, not a compliment. No.
exactly. It was. Bondi, also, if you're still around, it's an open invite. If you want to join the chat, just let me or B know, and we'll drop the link. To your point, also, somebody said, I think their name was L, that said, I like Bravo chat room. You and four other people, L. So I thought Bravo, listen, but it doesn't matter. Let's move on to the other things you were saying. Ascala looked like a Barbie doll. She looks so. Listen, I think Ascala is so beautiful. Her face, her body, her style. That ponytail with the curls, I was like, God damn, Ascala, you go. She is absolutely gorgeous to me. She looks like a real life Barbie doll. She's even shaped like a Barbie doll. Even the shape of her legs looks like Barbie's legs. She's so gorgeous. She kept trying to have her moment. Gizelle would not give her a moment. I hope she returns next season because Gizelle is the producer's favorite. And I could see her being like, just for that comment on her clothing.
That's right.
Yeah, her house.
No, I think but what I saw in that moment was that again, what the hell happened between the finale and reunion? I want to know because Ascala it felt like she anticipated that kind of reaction because when she was sort of dismissing her help or she dismissed her a little bit. She smiled. She wasn't bothered at all, and I think that it would be very interesting to see Gizelle.
Smiled.
Well, when Gizelle got that, when Ascala said, "I would love to help Gizelle with her fashion," and then Gizelle was like, I don't care about this, and she had some words to say, whatever, and Ascala basically sort of smiled. She didn't look bothered. She didn't look worried. She just looked totally unbothered. So I think that usually during the season, Gizelle was trying her best to be friendly with Ascala because that's Robin's friend. Mm-hmm. But at the reunion, she didn't seem very warm to her. Is what I'm trying to say. She didn't seem very warm in that moment to her.
I got that too, but I realized that Giselle's. That's a funny thing. How that Candiace knows that Gizelle is like an industry plant because I know Candiace could rip Gizelle up and down with just 4 words. Right? There's so much material there, but you're right. She doesn't go near there. But to that point of being cold. The one thing that Gizelle, you can hurt her and break her, and even if it's irrational, her clothes and her house. You talk about her clothes, her house, and her. What was that mess about them saying that being with Jamal is a survival instinct? Girl, you ain't got a lot to kick it. He's good in bed, and he makes you feel good, and you don't have the self-esteem or the options to leave him. What was your take on that? A survival instinct? Girl, stop it. Like you're in Julia Roberts sleeping with the enemy, shaving your head off and jumping into the sea trying to swim away from this man. Jamal runs away from you. He humiliates you. He left you with a Mini Cooper and $800,000 tax bill in the middle of the night to go down and with his new thing. And now you're trying to say it's a survival instinct being with this man. What was your take on that? I'm sorry.
Well,
That just tried me.
I mean, it was annoying. I think that she didn't have any good answers. She just said, I don't feel anything. This is what happened. This is what I go through. I mean, it was just the same thing she's done for years. I mean, at a certain point, I don't know. Again, she's not as belligerent or as annoying as I would say Erica. But for me, if the ladies don't want to open up and you can ask them the same question every year, then at a certain point, we have to just stop asking. I think as viewers and I think as Andy, we just have to stop asking because obviously she's not. You know what? I was also say this too, and Tisa, you probably know this. And my family, my beautiful African American ladies, or just the brown ladies, or whoever, sometimes, just our community. Sometimes, if you ain't changing before a certain time of your life, you're gonna be how you are. I just think that Gizelle is who she is.
Oh.
I don't think she can read a book, get into a relationship. I don't think there's anything that's going to drastically change her way of operating in the world. Can she be less hurtful? Yes, but will she show her emotions? One, like, really be will she feel safe enough to show her emotions to other people? I don't think so.
You know what? That's a good damn point. I don't know how it is in other communities because, like you said, we can only speak on ours, but there is that phenomena where it's almost like if you don't start to wise up before a certain age. But I never figured out whether that was just life or whether you decided one day to be willfully oblivious. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the way things are.
Well, yeah,
Go on.
yeah. No, I was going to say, but Tisa, you know what? I like you said, we go and speak about our experiences. I've seen people who've had this sort of hardness and sort of stuckness when it comes to their diet. So I've known many people who've perished because they're like, this is just where I grew up on, and this is just where I'm going to eat. This is just how I'm going to
Oh, are
be.
you serious?
Oh yes, people were sort of opening up to the different differences in life. They were sort of stuck in how they were raised or how they brought up, and this is just what it was. So I want to take it that deep. But I think that with Gizelle, I feel like with her, she is who she is, and I think that she can have small little improvements on life. But I don't think she'll make. I don't feel personally we will ever see her on this program make a drastic change, as we've seen other ladies on different franchises. She will never be a person who actually will say I'm hurt when she's interacting with other people or even in relationships. And that's why she could sit there and just not really give truth, basically.
Yeah, but do you think that she's doing that, like, to your point of her showing her real personality, or do you think that she's hiding behind everything because she's like, I'm not putting myself out there, and the producers aren't going to make me? Like, at the end of
Hmm.
the day, it is reality TV. If I could get up on reality TV and collect a check while y'all walking around looking stupid, please believe I'd be like, really? Damn, he left you again? Say that into the camera. Okay, anyway, I got to go shopping. Like, who wants to put themselves on the chopping block, especially
You
when it looks like
yeah.
Giselle's life is a mess?
You
Her
remember
life
last
is a
year?
mess.
I was gonna say, you remember last year they was somewhere and then there was that famous scene where Karen was like, "Does Jamal live in the phone?" And I think in the same scene, Robin was like, "Well, yeah, Gizelle, you don't really talk about Jamal. You don't really bring him up. I mean, we talk all the time. There's some questions I have, and I'm your girlfriend. I'm your best friend." I think that
Mhm.
I think that if it's even when they're not filming, I think that maybe she's that way. So I'm not sure if it's just sort of a trick for the
Ah,
cameras because I think the person who would know would be Robin. If she is asking the same questions that Karen is asking at the time about Jamal, then that means she's not being, she's not telling her something off the when she's not filming. I think. So I think that maybe that's just who she is. I think that she's a beautiful lady, and maybe she has some issues around her beauty when she was younger, and I think that maybe that taught her to be very stoic and ice cold. Some people call it British, some people call it whatever, and she just basically is not a person who wants to show her emotions or show her feelings. But I think she's sensitive. That's which is so weird. I think she's very sensitive, and she remembers everything. And again, she told Monique that at that very pivotal scene in Paris, she remembers everything. She gets very hurt easily, but she's too sneaky. She's very sneaky.
yeah.
Instead of telling people that you're hurt and really work it out, you rather just throw shade and be hurt, and then start going behind people back and backstabbing them, setting them up, and all this kind of crap. That's crazy.
Well, remember when Katie said in season 3 that she delights in tearing apart people's relationships? Do you think there's something to that?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that she, maybe Sharice would. I think that was what Sharice was saying too at the first couple of seasons. Yeah, I think that it could be
I don't know.
definitely.
I'm just actually saying that because I'm literally trying to figure out how much is actually like based in malice and how much is based in pain. But to a certain point, like I always say, when somebody's walking around going like this, it really doesn't matter if I meant to punch you in the face or not. If you know what I'm saying? If I keep punching you in the face, it's like, all right, I don't care whether you got a condition that makes you go like this. I got to move away from you, you know?
Yeah,
Um, Sarika says yes that Virgo holds grudges. Virgos, but here's the funny thing about Virgos holding grudges. Virgos, when they hold grudges, do you know how they get you back? They cut you out of their life. Virgos might get mad, they might argue, but when a Virgo is truly furious at you, they honestly feel like the way to make you pay, right? The way they literally want you to pay is for them to completely ignore you. So that's why it's weird that I know Gizelle holds grudges and I know she's hurt, but Virgos usually want them out. Oh, maybe that's why she tries to get everybody fired from the show. That might be it. She wants them out of this world, you know?
could
I don't
be,
know.
could be. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just the way. That's just the way she is, and that, yeah, I've known people like that. I've had friendships with people like that. And at a certain point, you have to be a mind reader, in my opinion, with people like that because you never know what's hurting them, what's not, and then you always arguing with them because they always doing things that they claim is funny. As you see on the show, she always say, I'm just making jokes," but the jokes is sort of this passive aggressive way to hurt people or get them back for how they've hurt you, and that's exhausting. No, nobody wants to be a friend in a friendship with a person like that. Like somebody's always keeping score. They always being shady. They always like, well, is your marriage okay? Are you a good mother? Like, well, who asked this about? You're not going to ask these deep questions about people. If you're annoyed by somebody, tell them that. Don't trigger them by talking about the most sacred things in their lives. So, yeah, I mean, as we were talking about too, if anybody would have, excuse me, and I don't believe in violence, if anybody would have had a strong reaction from the things that come out of people's mouths, it would have been Gizelle, because she say things that's pretty terrible.
I agree. She says things that are super horrible. But Mariel makes a point. She said Gizelle doesn't want anyone to be a bigger star than her on her own show. That's why she's turning on Candiace. I actually, again, I have a different opinion of Gizelle. I know that she's ego based, and I believe like a lot what you're saying, Mel. But I also think there's that added component that Gizelle, now we talk about a Virgo, she looks at this as her money, as her livelihood, what's going to put Grace through college, what's going to get her. She looks at this as a job. I think that there is Gizelle. I think naturally she's cold. Naturally she's closed off, definitely. But I don't think she looks at Real Housewives of Potomac as her show per se. I think she looks at it as like, I'm making my money. I'm basically being a producer. That's how I'm saying, getting my spot. I'm being the Lisa Rinna of the show. Anyone that does not play ball for the way, so I think the producers, they talked to Gizelle because remember Candiace said that they were having like that dinner. Gizelle, the producers, Robin, Candiace happened to be there, right? They were bringing Candiace into the inner fold. And that's when they were producers and Gizelle were plotting on Monique and Monique's family, right? Candiace said, that ain't going to work. What y'all talking about? You're going too far. Now, not to get into that, but to pull it back, right? Right? Let's pull it back,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Oh Lord.
Gizelle is a plant of the producers. And the
Mm-hmm.
producers honestly feel that when them and Gizelle agree on something, or when they tell Gizelle we want A, B, and C, Gizelle earns her paycheck by delivering, right? So
Yeah.
when they say, okay, we need Candiace here dressed like a clown at 5 o'clock, Gizelle goes over and she's like, girl, get in your clown clothes. Come on. They tried to do that to Wendy. We need Wendy here dressed like a mime. Come on, girl, put that mime makeup on. And Wendy was like, you're out of your damn mind. I'm not dressing like a mime or a clown. Get out of here. So the producers were like, what's going on? So by Gizelle not producing for the producers, that makes her spot more unstable. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now you're
Mm-hmm.
messing with her value. So I think it's not about her show. It's just the fact that this is how Gizelle makes her money. This is a job for her. And if y'all ever knew a Virgo, don't come in between a Virgo and anything that messes with their ego or their money, because their money is their ego no matter what they say, right? They look, it's an earth sign thing. It's an earth sign thing. Don't come for their money. Don't come for their job. Don't come for their houses. Don't come for their fashions. Anything they spent their money on, don't do it. I think that's what's going on with Gizelle. I don't think she looks at it as like, I'm the HBIC in the way that we look at it. It's not a thing of ego. She gets her ego from being the producer's pawn and being the best at being the producer's pawn. And when anybody goes against her, that's when she has a problem with it. Because she tolerates Candiace, but Candiace knows not to go against her in anything that is dealing with her job. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what
Mm.
the issue is. Yeah,
Mhm.
but you know what? I agree so much with what you said about there's a certain something of Gizelle where this is the job she's agreed to take on, and it does meld into her personality. And at this point, with her being, I still don't that being comfortable with Jamal, she's gotten to a certain thing where she's like, which is sad when she said men just cheat, people just cheat, no one's faithful. And I said, that's sad that you've never been with anybody that led you to believe that people aren't ruled by their carnal desires. Now, I'm not saying people don't cheat. I'm not saying people don't get cheated on. I'm not saying let me just shut up. But
Oh Lord, come on now.
no, but I'm just saying, like, we live in this thing. Anyone that has not been hurt by someone else, congratulations. My opinion, you're either 16 years old or you're lying. Somewhere along the way, somebody had your heart and decided to, like, pour some sugar
Mhm.
on it and throw it on the barbecue, right? So it's like it's a natural thing, but we've all met more people that were normal, not angels, but just normal, where they had healthy respect and they didn't want to cheat. And if they did feel like it wasn't working out, they would tell you like an adult. I just think because she's been with Jamal and because Jamal was her first love and he set the standard, I feel like everybody has been a watered down version of him. But it's almost like, in my opinion, she was dating a narcissist and never actually got help for that. Like, I don't know. What did you think about that? Even when she said that Jamal's tax problem wasn't her problem. What did you think of that?
Well, I mean that was interesting. I think that I think that she had a lot to say when Karen said that she and her husband had separate taxes, and she everything in the world. She said, no, you got together. This is your problem. You going down, and she made fun. So I think that it's just funny to me that everything that she tried to clock people with not having a business, having tax issues, the universe was like, okay, here we go. This is in your lap. And if she was married at the time with him, then maybe she should talk to a lawyer. I don't know, but yeah, I think that I don't know. She's. I just wish that she could just chill out and really have fun and just stop thinking so much and scheming so much. And even on the show, she's like, "Oh, I'm with this person, a reporter, whoever it was." And every time she gets a reunion, it always changes. Like even when she was dating whoever she was before, Sherman,
Herman?
and
Yeah.
then she gets the reunion and she's not dating him. It's like it's always nobody's ever shows up. I mean, you know what? Has any man ever? Excuse me. Has any person she's been in a relationship with that she has loved? I put it that way. Have they ever shown up at the reunion with her?
No, but she always like,
Has an excuse.
yeah, but another thing too, the men, to be fair, not Jamal, because he doesn't have an excuse, but the other men she dates, to be fair, they get played mid-season. So if you were dating someone and they were on reality TV and with Sherman, it got put out that you got caught with women in the cars because you didn't want to pay for hotels. uh,
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I wouldn't show up. Like, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, with Gizelle, but when you look at your professional reputation, when you look at your reputation, when you look at the way reunions go, and when you know that you've been lying and hiding stuff, you'd be a damn fool to show up for a reunion. Don't forget, they don't pay the men, right? And Real Housewives of Potomac, we see what we're doing to Chris Bassett. We saw what they tried to do with Ray. Everybody, I think, except for Michael Darby, we saw what they did to Chris Samuels. They always try to play and degrade the men, which is odd because out of all the housewives things, I feel like the husbands, Chris Samuels included, of Real Housewives of Potomac, are the most solid husbands behind their women. If you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
husbands, not Giselle and Robin, but husbands. They're the most solid, and not Michael Darby because whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
they seem to be the most solid behind. So I see your point about has any man ever showed up for her, but it's kind of like Gizelle, you're on reality TV. It's a tough thing. But also somebody made a good point that if a man showed up for her, I don't know, do you think that since Sherman, she won't actually let a man get close enough to show up for her? Like at this point, she's more looking for a life partner than she is actually. I don't know. Giselle's a mystery to me. I see
She's
the
a, yeah,
thing.
she is. She's a. That's what I feel too. She is. That's why I agree with you. She's a mystery. I think that. So this is what I think. I again. I don't. I'm not divorced. Well, again, I don't have children, and I don't know the complications that this kind of life that she has. Or even I'm going to even mention Kenya. But when I see these two women, beautiful. I'm all jokes aside about fashion or messy or whatever. These two ladies, beautiful divas. I personally, if I was to talk to them personally, both of them, I would say, breathe, chill out, relax. No, really,
Go
date.
on,
Yes,
breathe,
yes,
chill out.
and date, and then read a couple of Tara McMillan books, especially How Stella Got Her Groove Back. How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and just chill out for a little bit and get into your womanhood, get into the groove. And promise yourself no sexual relationship, just to have fun, just to sort of be in that feeling for a couple of weeks or months or whatever, and do this. And whatever happens, let it be filmed. If the person is good, he'll be good. If he's not, it won't, and it'll be a good story. Whatever. Just do this. No whispering behind a purse, no secrets, weddings, none of that. Just all transparent. Have a good time. If you're meeting somebody new, it ain't gonna have that sort of, oh, well, she knew him a long time and these history. It's just gonna be good and fresh. I need that so desperately for both of them, because I'm tired of all the complications and the secrets and the shadows. I'm dating this person, I'm not dating them now, and no, just clean cut, have a good time. Just, I mean, what happened to that? Just chill out and have a good time. That's
I
it.
mean, Bravo and their mess happened to that. Bravo wanted to see people cry. Bravo zooming in on Melania, Teresa Giudice's daughter, when she was 6 years old,
Yeah,
singing her
that's
little thing when she was like, "Waking up in the morning,
money.
just so many things." That was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
heartbroken. And they zoomed in on that mess. They were looking like, yeah. Again, if I was dating someone and they tried to get me to come on reality TV, I'd be like, yeah, it's just not gonna happen. It's just
Mhm.
not gonna happen. You know? It's just I feel sorry for Gizelle, but again, somebody said it in the chat, I forget. People don't get, right? People don't get that, like, this is about Gizelle. I think this is a job, and Giselle's about that coin, and everybody else is making it like super, super, super personal. But I really do think it's about Gizelle,
But
and it's
yeah,
about the coins for her.
I, yeah.
Candiace, let me tell you, let me get your thing. What, first of all, Robin was invisible. Ashley
Yes,
was
you are.
fighting. It was literally, she was in the cheap seats being like, well, I have a thing. And I love the fact that Candiace
But she
played her
wasn't
best.
vicious, surprisingly. So surprisingly, Tisa, and again, this is the weird part. Like, what happened between the finale and the reunion? Because Ashley, for the most part, she wasn't very vicious this episode. She was sitting there. There was a couple of things that was happening that Candiace was saying, and even she had sympathetic look on her face when she was crying. When she was like, "My family, my husband." I'm saying, what is going on with Ashley? Like, she's not being vicious this episode, so that was interesting. But I want to say this: so if they even dared to cancel or fire Candiace, what the Housewives of Potomac will get is what we got from Salt Lake City for most of the season. Nothing. We would have ladies sitting around going to boring things. There'll be no funny confessionals. They will have Married to Medicine, because when Mariah was gone, there was nothing
True,
funny about it. You see, you
true.
need that. You need that flavor. Now, I don't need a woman or man or anybody to be fighting and cussing and doing anything all the time. But in the confessional, I need you to serve. I need you to read. I need you to give me what I want. And let the women be mad when you get to your room and say, "Damn, you got me together in that reunion, girl. I'm really mad about this thing that you said about me." I like that. But so that's what I would say about Candace. I don't know if her thing is in jeopardy, but if they want to play and they want to, say, "Oh, well, we don't want her on the show," what they will have is Salt Lake City without the arrest of
Yeah, but
Jen Shaw.
I
That's what they
agree
would
with
have.
you, but Bravo ain't never been afraid of sinking a show. Look what they did to Real Housewives of Atlanta. That was the most successful in the whole history of reality TV. It put Bravo on the map, and they ran that shit into the ground, and they're still running into the ground. Quiet as is kept. Maybe this season they'll find a way to save it, but up until then, they were rubbing it in the ground. Now, Cool Cat said Ashley was mature. Candiace should take note. I would just like to say something to Cool Cat and to you, Mel. Y'all gotta learn to recognize game. Ashley was
Okay.
not being nice.
Oh,
Ashley was
okay.
trying to get under Candace's skin. Y'all
Hmm.
need, and again, I know you guys are both two intelligent people, right? So don't take this in a condescending way, but you need to realize sometimes that when people are really trying to get you to step out of yourself, the first way to do that is you come to them from a point of emotional understanding. Those looks she was giving the cameras is because she's trying not to be nasty Ashley again. But even the way she sat there and she said, and again, Ashley's gift with the gab. But if you listen to what she said some ignorant shit. She said, well, I think what happened is during that pandemic, he lost some footing. As soon as he said that, I was like, bitch, I see where you're going, but continue, right? He said, he's been staying home. He's drinking a lot. He's gained a lot of weight. Just because she said that in a matter of fact tone and with her smile on her face and her wide eyes, it's like, but you're literally reading me. And it's a thing and a pandemic, and he doesn't come out the house anymore. He's not the same Chris we know. He literally said, yeah, literally. And
well, I caught that. So in comparison to what is it? They were at the big controversial scene where Chris is taking Candiace away and putting her somewhere at that thing. So that's the Ashley, or the one talking about Alzheimer's. So that's the Ashley we used to. The one that's that one. So we didn't see that tonight. That's all I'm saying. But yeah.
Oh, no. But see, here's the thing. Ashley's skilled at doing. And we saw that at the dinner. Yeah. Ashley knows how to come at somebody all these different ways so that her hands are always clean. That was the beginning. And here's the thing. Ashley's thing isn't to read Candiace down. Her goal is to get under Candiace's skin so Candiace loses her mind. And then Ashley can then read her down and everybody can be like, oh my God, Candiace is horrible. Because every time Ashley and Candiace get into an argument, it's always Candiace's fault. We saw that at the table when she said, bet you can't get it right. Oh, finger in the face. And not till Candiace said, first of all, and then everybody's just like, oh my God, how dare me. I'm just saying with this, learn to recognize game. People that always have clean hands try to get you hyped up. So you look, well, I'm just saying, Ashley, so you look like the bad person, right? And then she acts like, I don't know why you're getting so upset. She thought she could get to Candiace by making cracks about Chris. But I think this reunion, Candiace is ready for Ashley. She's watched enough. She knows the thing. She's already on Chris's bad side because of her mom. So she doesn't want to mess up too much. So that's why she just paid her debts when she was like, well, who hasn't changed during the pandemic? Which was true because Ashley was painting this picture and I was like, but wait, everybody has panty weight. Everybody has this. Everybody has that. It doesn't make a difference. But I agree with people. I don't look at that as being mature. I look at that as being conniving, manipulative, and evil. And if you guys look at that as mature, I don't know what to tell y'all. Like,
wait, hold up now. I didn't say mature.
No, not you.
No.
And I don't mean this to sound condescending, cool cat.
No. I love it. You know I do. Yeah. No. I think that all I'm saying is, maybe I agree with you, and I'm agreeing with the chat that somebody said something that was very funny. Said she's laying in wait, honey. I'm like, okay, I get that. Yeah, because I was like, well, where's the girl from the table? Where's she at from the table? Like she's sitting right there. And I see the clip. Something is coming up. Something is, of course, coming. But yeah, I was like, okay, cause I don't want Ashley to be how she was at the table, but I've watched it for years. I'm like, well, this ain't the Ashley I'm used to. So yeah, that was all. But
it was crazy. But listen, that's the real Ashley. I always knew Ashley's vicious, but I also like literally, and this is the issue I have with Candiace. Everybody keeps calling Candiace a child. Ashley can't even take anybody saying anything about her husband until she like blows up, right? Because she's so desperate to believe that Michael's not who the goddamn person we always know he is, right? She's so desperate, but I don't believe.
But Ashley, yeah, I mean, not to say anything political, trust me, but Ashley gives me Melania Trump. That's and I'm gonna go that deep because yes. So when it comes to Melania Trump. The reports were that she was a very nasty woman, and that anytime somebody said something disparaging against her husband, she would be very nasty, and she would to the staff at the White House and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and she knew exactly what he was about, but she was very protective of him. And that relationship is not one based on equal power. That one is based on one has lower power and one has higher power. I don't know Michael's political affiliations, but that's how Ashley reads to me. Like, here's this man who's despicable for all purposes, and yet she's definitely almost doing it almost like you know how you work at a job and you barely like whatever, but yet you're defending it. You're really going to ride for it. That's what it's giving me. Like she's doing it almost as a service, like a business deal or something. Yes, Mercedes, Melania Trump. Yes, yeah, I think so.
I completely agree with you. The only thing is, Michael don't give her Melania wardrobe money because Melania stayed
Amen.
Gucci down head to toe. Dolce
Mm.
and Gabbana was flying in the dresser. So yes, I agree. Now, Cool Cat says, Tisa, we know that's your girl, Candiace. Candiace is being coached to attack one person, and that is Mia. If Cool Cat, read the room. You cannot paint Mia as a victim, Cool Cat. Mia is a provocateur. Mia loves to engage. Mia is looking for a moment. Candiace should thank Mia for her getting a second season. We can't say that Mia is a victim, right? Her meds won't allow her to multitask. Listen, on this, I was about to give a PSA. Listen, Cool Cat, what you talking about? Anyway, I'm not even going to address that. That's ridiculous. Her meds won't allow her to multitask. Cool Cat. If you can't see that Candiace is one of the most intelligent people on that stage, Ashley's intelligent too. Karen is. Gizelle, she's intelligent, but not like Ashley and Candiace. Those girls are quick. Oddly enough, Ashley and Candiace, they're not alike, but they have similarities. You know who's really alike? Mia. Mia and Ashley have similar stories, very similar, except for Ashley married the crypt keeper and Mia married G. Right? G's grown on me. G's grown on me. Listen, he's like, you know what it is? Did you guys ever see this old movie from the 80s called Gremlins? That after midnight, if you fed them, they're so cute and furry, but did you feed them or hug them? If you did something to them after
You got
midnight,
them if you
they
got them
turned
wet.
into like,
Mm-hmm.
what'd you do to them?
No, you're right. I think you first get them wet and then you feed them, junk food, and then they end up turning into these crazy
Oh,
things.
okay. So you have to get them wet, and then you have to feed them junk food. The thing is, they turn into crazy things, right? But before that, they're like the cutest little things. G is like in the movie Gremlins. He is literally the cutest thing until you give him some vodka, some Absolute, some Grey Goose, and then
Oh Lord, come on, turn
G
to.
comes out to play. Listen. Okay, if you got the wet, all right. Listen, Michael is the gremlin. Michael was born the gremlin, right? Ashley's trying to act like she got herself the cute one. I forget what the cute one's called. Gizzy or Jizzy or something like Gizmo. I don't know. Gizmo, Gizzy,
I
Jizzy,
think so.
whatever.
Gizmo. Don't get me wrong.
Ashley's trying to act like
That
she got
picture is so
herself.
long ago. I haven't seen that picture in years. Like, oh,
I just saw that. I saw that a month ago. It was on like some movie channel, and I was like, "What are these cute little things?" Those movies had me. I literally went. Those movies had me. I was like, "Oh my god, they're on the plane! No, the plane's gonna crash!" So,
oh my gosh.
listen, Gizmo. Thank you, Gizmo. So I would like to say, y'all. Listen, y'all. And here's the thing I talked about in my live yesterday. Go check it out. It was actually really good. We need to start just being honest with everybody, right? Yes, I like Candiace, but I can admit when Candiace is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like Candiace, but I can see Candiace's shortcomings, just like people that know me can see my shortcomings. We're all human. But to sit there just because somebody is your favorite because you don't like them and not acknowledge things that they are doing, not acknowledge unfairness, because I'm not going to get into a philosophical thing, but the reason why every society through history has demand fairness and dealings. It's because you know why, Cool Cat? Because right now you enjoying it because for whatever reason, there's something in Candiace that irks your heart. So you're enjoying the pylon, you're enjoying this, but you're enjoying seeing her being taken down so much that you're not stepping back and actually wondering, what does this mean for for the situation? What does this mean for Black women? What does it mean for the culture? You don't even care about that? What does it mean for women in general? You don't care about that? Fine. What does it mean to me? Because if people see these type of things and they think this is the appropriate way to deal with somebody, what does that even mean for you in your life? It's all fun when someone that you don't like is treated unfairly, but eventually that unfairness comes to your front door. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why it's just you demand fairness in dealings, because eventually the shit that you laugh at and allow will show up at whether it's the way society thinks or whether it's even in that circle that you were so happy to see your fave be. I mean, not your fave, but you were so happy to see the person you don't like ripped apart. I say all this to say we can like someone dislike someone and still acknowledge when they're being treated unfairly. Case in point, I thought Monique was trash for what she did to Candiace last season. Trash to the highest order. However, being a duplicative thinker, being a critical thinker, I can actually acknowledge also, but what Andy and Bravo did with Monique was messed up because they didn't do that to anybody else. And the way they tried to do this and tried to do that, it was messed up. The fact that I thought Monique was trash for that, the fact that I thought doesn't take me away from the fact that I can't actually see, yeah, and the way Bravo tried to do her was really messed up too. It is what it is. Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. Doesn't mean I don't think she deserved it. But I can still at least acknowledge reality that happened. They did her dirty. And it was unnecessary. And it's unlike what they've done to other housewives that have done crazier things. We have Erica Jane for an example. Right? But that's just me. That's just me. So listen, I have a couple of things, right? That's another thing. Whether you like Candiace or not, this pylon that the ladies were doing, Andy Cohen had the nerve to say them. Why are people always tweeting me that you should be fired? Andy, you get tweeted 50, 11 times each day that a housewife should be fired. Portia beat up people 3 times. Erica is literally making coochie popping videos too expensive to be me with like burn victims money. Like, Lisa Rick, it boggles my mind. But this is who he wants to get smart with. This is who he wants to. Why? Because Andy doesn't like Candiace. And why doesn't he like Candiace? Candiace doesn't need them, right? Of course she wants the publicity. That's why she's there. You stupid to go on reality TV not to use it for something, right? But Candiace doesn't need Andy. Candiace doesn't need Andy's validation. Candiace is not in a horrible relationship. Candiace is not desperate for love. Andy did not help Candiace with her career, and Andy doesn't have a piece of Candiace's career, doesn't have a piece of Candiace's business. And for all you guys saying, oh, but what about Bethany? Bethany had a big business and Andy had yeah, but you know what? You notice as soon as Bethany severed ties with Andy and them that they didn't have their fingers anymore in her skinny girl shit or whatever's going on. You notice now he don't even mess with Bethany like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But you know what's so funny, Tisa? You're right about that, about the idea that when people go on reality shows, they should definitely be very, very condescending, very smart about you going up there to promote stuff. You know what's so funny? I watched reality shows for years, going back to Real World. And I think that the first family, people always put Kardashians there, but you know, the first family for me that I felt really did it well and really made success out of it was a show called The Osbournes, where they had these crazy family who would who was into rock music, and they basically had no career. Next thing you know, the father was working again. It was for a hot second. They really were very hot. And then of course we had the Kardashians, and then Bethany popped up on The Housewives and she did very well. I think they were the model that they definitely used the platform very well. And I think anybody who doesn't use it that way, you be entertaining, but you also want to definitely promote your business in a smart way is the way to do it. Definitely.
True. That's how you do it. That they did do that. I think she got the talk show out of that, right?
Yeah.
So many things happen like that. And again, what did you think of Andy's gaslighting, where he said you were almost involved in a physical assault last year? And I was like, almost? In what universe?
Yeah, I mean,
What
that's
did
true.
you think about that?
I mean, it's crazy because he basically recanted what he was saying at the last reunion and what he was saying with his own show. So that was just sort of, that was crazy to me. But I think that for me, I'm glad that Candiace handled the way she did, but it was definitely not almost assaulted. She was assaulted.
Hello?
She was physically attacked and touched, and that did happen. So yeah, he's a joke basically, and he's a joke, and he's been that way for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke. I will say that,
Well,
like,
I was gonna say he's a joke. The things he does is definitely wrong, and that's not funny. But him as a man, him as a host, or I mean, at the end of the day, Tisa, at the end of the day, Kathy Griffin, I'm going to keep on calling her name. She clocked him very well. One of her books. So you reading a book you reading a book that's sort of censored by Bravo, but the uncensored version was the one that Kathy Griffin wrote, and because she had a show on Bravo for years. She talked about how it was produced, how he treated her, what she saw, how Andy sort of had Anderson Cooper and come against her. She lost her job and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Kathy Griffin called him out years ago, and she never recanted, unlike some of the ladies do now, whatever. But Yeah,
Yeah.
Captain Griffin called it out years ago.
You know, so funny. I remember when that Kathy Griffin thing happened, and he had used her to kind of climb the popularity. Weren't they hosting
Hmm.
like New Year's Eve shows or something like that? And as soon as that happened, he completely cut her loose, did whatever, tried to like cut her out of everything. He was successful. But you're right. I remember when Kathy Griffin told us about Andy, and she turned out to be right. At that time, we thought she was just hating. We thought this, but it literally told, turned out to be completely right. Andy,
Hmm.
I don't understand what they're doing. I get it. He thinks he's going on public opinion. Again, he is on Twitter. When are these people going to realize that Twitter is not real life? Lord, YouTube's not real life, but it's realer life than Twitter. Instagram is not real life, but it's
But you know what?
realer life than
Wait,
Twitter.
and you know what's so funny? I'm talking to you right now, and I'm thinking, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm talking to Tisa, so she can answer this because you get so deep into it. So let me ask you this, and I love we can talk about this now. He did bring up the tweets, which is, I guess, one avenue that the viewers can interact. Either either they are recording the program or they rewatching it, so whatever. So Tisa, if you're a character on a program that you seem to be very polarizing, supposedly, allegedly. We don't know that to be because Candiace is now getting good, good reactions across. But let's say the people, complain about you on Twitter. Is that as important as, I don't know, the ratings or the way that people react to you by tuning in, or like, there's
Well,
different things that people judge, you
yeah.
on.
So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking whether if people are complaining about you, does that affect your stability on the show? If you are the villain, right? That one, ratings rule everything. Ratings rule everything. I don't care how much everybody hates you. If the episodes you're on ratings are sky high and a million people are like, I hate her, they don't care. They're still going to keep you on. If anything, they're going to keep you on more.
Right.
Um, Twitter, it used to be a time where, first of all, Andy Cohen don't run shit. NBC Universal still kind of uses him in a limited capacity as an advisor because they think he actually knows. But since ratings have been going down everywhere, they're starting to pull that power back from him because they're like, you don't even know what's going on anymore. We talked about that. But Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, especially, they read comments all the time and they read tweets. And people calling on Candiace to be fired, fine, but production stokes that. On one hand, they look at it as like, we're actually doing our job. Because I'm telling you, even how calm Candiace is, they've told her, you're the villain, just like Kenya knew she was being made a villain. But there's job security in being the villain. And you have to be strong enough to handle the villain because a bunch of people think they know you, and maybe they do, right? And they're screaming stuff at you. But in that whole thing, Andy was just being a punk for saying that because what he said, even from his own thing, it makes no sense. People don't like Candiace. People are saying Candiace should be fired. But guess what? Everybody says it about every housewife they don't like. Every time Kenya does something, there were campaigns and GoFundMe's and stuff for Kenya to be fired. Portia, they all get that. That's why it was weird that Andy
Yeah,
said that.
Kenya is a really good case study for me because I remember I mean, I loved her from the moment she stepped on. And again, for me, the recent years has been a little shaky for me with her. Not that I hate her, just that I wasn't really connected to her. But
Yeah.
I remember when I was obsessed with her when she was
Yes.
when the idea, what, did she sleep with Paul? Did she not? I didn't know as a viewer, but I was obsessed. So at that point, the biggest thing that a black woman can do in the black community was to be a woman who was going against another woman. So a lot of the idea was that they were hating against her because she was that woman, supposedly. But she was there. I'm not sure what the Q rating is. It's something else that happens other than the way people hate you online. There's a certain rating that either stars have when they have TV shows, whatever. They go, well, my Q rating was through the roof. So there's other things that people judge you based on. So that's what I was saying. I wonder if the tweeting from people who are watching the show is really as relevant as other things that happen with the advertisers and the marketing, the ratings and
Well,
demo graphics and all the other kind of things that go
so
into it.
the number one thing that's important is how the episodes you're on actually do. People can talk trash all they want, even with them being like, "Oh my God, Portia's my fave." Shout out to Erica Girardi, or if you have a problematic fave. If everybody is just because here's the thing, I'll be honest with you. They used to, right, only look at what who was popping on Instagram, who like had all this big Twitter stuff, and whose things were being reposted, right? Until they realized that the things that being reposted were only the little clips. So nobody was watching watching the show. Just like Portia got 8.4 million followers, they swore to love her up and down, and they couldn't drag them to come watch Real Housewives of Atlanta that last season. The new
That's
marketers,
right.
yeah, no, but the new marketers are now starting to realize a lot of this stuff is fake. A lot of the stuff is fake bots. A lot of the stuff is this. And honestly, it's a skewed demographic. A lot of people on Twitter are, and not everyone, of course, but there's a hateful element to Twitter. There just is. There's a hateful element, and people say horrible, horrible things. People do not take Twitter that seriously. Now, for movies and stuff and promotion, Twitter might be a vehicle, but nobody takes Twitter seriously anymore when someone's like, oh, you need to have that person fired. It's not, it doesn't have the power it used to have. Now, if people start a petition that gets like 100,000 signatures, okay, maybe, right? Or if more importantly, and this is the number one thing, when people are when people are on the show, if that rating is through the roof, like I said, Kenya, half the time last season, she was the only one trending. You
Mm-hmm.
remember that for last season? The deadest season, Kenya breathes, all of a sudden Twitter, I hate her, and she's trending. And that was the only play that they actually got. So, I mean, again, there's other factors, but for Andy to talk about Twitter that was being emotionally, intelligently, um, intellectually dishonest, you know that everybody's called to be fired.
Yeah.
And you know that everybody on Twitter is always calling on someone they don't like to be fired. And again, all right, Andy, so what are they saying about the other house guys? You don't
Yeah.
remember
Okay. That's right. No, I'm so yeah. Well, no, please. I'm sorry. I was going to say this is what I was just going to say right here, Miss Nicole Span. Oh my God, this is so brilliant. So what I was going to say is, what me and you do, what me and you say about Candiace is so balanced. And, we don't really sort of say, oh, she's right about everything. But this point that Miss Nicole Span said right here is spot on. So when she threw the knife years ago, it was divided. It was divided. But the moment she interacted with Monique, and when Monique was so connected with these blogs. So when you watch a
Mm,
program, like, so what we're doing tonight, Tisa, we saw
yeah,
the program and now we're communicating. But last year, people saw the program and what did they do? They went to the YouTube before they was a Tisa, whoever, they went up there and they saw people who were connected to Monique. So that sort of training, that sort of, basically, what they did was they sort of tricked the audience. They convinced the audience that these people who were connected with Monique was saying that Candiace was wrong when we knew she
yeah.
wasn't. So that sort of came over to this year. So
Well,
basically, they manipulated the audience. I feel last year, and that's what's happening this year.
yeah, but that's the thing I still don't believe, because we've been in the YouTube streets too long, so how long, and we can tell when people are being manipulated. We can tell when somebody's either being paid or they're just saying what they want to say to get views, because it has nothing to do with reality. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but I agree with you. I agree with you. When Monique came into the scene, things completely changed. And that's when Bravo finally saw the power of YouTube. So now they have a lot of people in, and there's no shade in that, right? You get in how you fit in, right?
Yeah,
Bravo, like, plays ball with people play, and that's fine. That's the way it is. But to me, it's almost like the way they started making beauty bloggers, and who knows, we'll ever get to this. Remember when they started making, well, you might not remember this, Mel, but for the women, right? Remember when they started making beauty bloggers put in their posts, this is a paid promotion? Because before they'd be like, oh my God, I love this. It's the best ever. I can't live without it, right? And they needed to put in their thing that this is a paid promotion. So we knew, ooh, that's why you've been talking about that mascara for 12 hours, because you're paid, right? So now, right? Now, I feel like with the blogging world, with Twitter, especially, and whatever they need. I remember the last presidential election. Half my faves that were like, oh, you should do this and this and this. I found out that, like, in the Democrats, because I'm Democratic, I don't know what the Republicans were doing, were going around to people on Twitter that had over 50,000 followers that were paying them a minimum of 500 up to who knows how much was negotiated for to put out one good tweet in support of Joe Biden. Just one good tweet. Now,
Wow.
I think that type of shit should be disclosed. Hey, I'm being paid for this. That's it. Or there's some type
Mhm.
of business relationship. But again,
Right.
Twitter doesn't have those things up. YouTube just got them for beauty bloggers, and they don't have them up for, oh, I think for tech people too. But when it comes to opinion, nothing is there yet. But I think opinion is one of those things that business relationships need to be disclosed, because opinions, I think, are more powerful than any,
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I see your point.
Yeah.
It did happen when it happened with Monique. It was super, super weird, but
I just feel, I just feel like it's stained. What I would say is it stained Candice's reputation, her character, her persona. That all stained it, and I feel like it never bounced back. So I feel like the previous season of Potomac, the viewers had fun with the ladies. They either didn't like them or they liked them, and then sometimes they would come back and they would change. Look what happened to Ashley. We talk about her. She has some issues, and yet the people were able to bounce back. But when Monique really was connected. I don't want to name the blogs, but she was connected with about five of a lot of the major ones, and they would premiere right after the episode. And then so the audience was confused about what happened, so they went to YouTube to get clarity, and what they got was Monique's opinion through the
yeah,
mouth of these other people. So now we're not blaming her for this year, but the way people view her, the tweeting about her is just that they were taught that Candiace is the problem on this show, and they have not been able to really sit there and go, wait a minute, why do I believe this? Oh,
yes,
because I was connecting to because I was watching a person on YouTube who actually was friends with Monique. Well, let me now look at the show with a clear view and see that this woman did not even say anything for maybe 90% of the season. She didn't. She really didn't do anything. She connected with Mia. She had an issue with Candiace, but for the most part, it was Wendy and Gizelle having these major issues for most of the season. So yeah, I think that yeah, I just think that her name was stained last year. We're not blaming Monique this year, but it's hard for her to come back from that, what happened last year, basically.
yeah. So I think, yeah. So I think what's going on with that is, I completely agree with you. I do think you're right. A lot of people have these vicious thoughts on Candace, and we're gonna wrap it up soon. I just want to see what you got, but you bring up a good point. And something that like last year kind of scared me for Candace, and even this year, the producers are so adept in whipping up hate around her. And for some reason, people just hate her. But last year, what I saw, and it was fueled, in my opinion, by Monique, I completely agree with you, was something on another level. I was genuinely worried about her safety.
Me
I
too.
mean it. There was like a viciousness that I've never
Oh yeah,
seen before.
that's
And
right.
maybe maybe because I don't go into the darker alleys of Twitter, that's the first time on something that I watch for enjoyment that I saw this viciousness. Like I was really scared for her, like viciousness. I would see people making comments that were so vile and promising of violence. Like literally, I would literally block people because I was like, I don't even want you in my timeline for even saying something like that. Like they weren't even people I know. I mean, like I would be in the comments for when Candace posted something, because you know I'm nosy, right? And then I would see people be like, yeah, blah, 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 I hope you get it. And I would just be like, oh my God, block.
Hmm.
And they weren't even talking to me. I was just like, ooh, this is too much. Like, so I agree with you.
Hmm.
What we saw last year was crazy. And this year, sadly enough, I think Andy and the producers are trying to keep that energy going. And for Miss Candace, I think it's the deadly energy. Now, I will say that I thought this Epford reunion was, I mean, listen, for Potomac, it was a 6.5. We're just getting warmed up. Compared to Beverly Hills, it was 8.5, a 9, because that shit was just like whatever, right? Um, but I will say, I feel like they're just getting started up. And I think that Candace kind of has like the best of both worlds. You know, we take for granted that the Housewives watchers are a bigger community than they are. We're just a small blip, right? In the sea of what people watch, right? Housewives might, if they're lucky, get an episode where 1 million people watch. There's episodes on CBS, NBC, whatever, Fox that like tens of millions of people are watching. That's fine. All I can say is Candiace, she has taken this opportunity to fulfill her dreams, to flip this into something big. And even though she might have her detractors, her being on Housewives and even her haters, because how Candiace did when she was at that record thing, she was like, oh, my tweets get traction. When people are trying to promote, even if 1 million people jump in your DMs saying, I hate you, that means the tweet got promoted and 1 million other people might have been like, oh, let me go check this album out. So in that aspect, all publicity is good publicity. It looks like Candiace is doing a good job of flipping this, because even when I see her on talk shows and she's being herself, she's so bubbly, she's so free, she's turning it on. She's a natural actress. I really love Candy Pants, right? She's a natural actress. She reminds me a lot of a young Kenya Moore, in the fact of the way Kenya just has that, I don't know. When she turns it on, it's like something really pretty to watch. So yeah, I think Candiace is going to be okay. I think it, and to everyone else, the last thing I say, and then let Mel get his thing in on what he thought of the thing, wrap it up, and what he hopes to see next episode. But if you guys remember, Andy in the book had Monique's back. Andy wouldn't take Candiace's calls, but he was having plenty of conversations with Monique. When did Monique get on Andy's last nerve? And Andy was like, yeah, you on your own. When he said, well, don't you need the Bravo check? You know, and what's her name? Looked at him. Monique looked at him and said, this little check ain't doing anything. Like, Chris, it's whatever. And Andy got the most annoyed look on his face and said, really? So where's Chris money's coming from? Really? But hasn't Chris been retired for like a few years? He literally tried. He was mad that she said she didn't need the money. And she was mad that she was like, my baby, my husband might be a lot of things, but he is far from broke. That's all you need to know about Andy Cohen, the type of women he likes working with, and the type of people he likes being around. You must be broken or crazy in some way. And Monique let him know, baby, I'm not willing. Like, Chris is my meal ticket, and I'm not playing Chris so you can get an ego stroke, because you need to feel like you're somehow feeding me doing this. And if you read the book All Diamonds Are Not Rosé, he literally actually said that he made all of these housewives. But anyway, now let's get into you. What would you think about this? I know you said it earlier, but for the people that just joined us, what did you think of this review? Well, not review. You thought this review was excellent. But what did you think of the show?
Absolutely, honey, absolutely. No, with the reunion, I think that the reunion was really good. Like I said, it was very refreshing compared to what we just went through when it came to Beverly Hills. And I probably give it, like you said, I probably give it about 6. I know it's so funny. We talked so much about so many things. I have to say that I actually enjoyed Wendy tonight. I enjoyed her tonight. I totally missed that. She was funny. I liked the fact that she was on Gizelle's. You know what? She wasn't letting up on Gizelle. So she made me laugh. Wendy was definitely. Yes. She gave me some good moments tonight. So I was here for Miss Wendy.
I liked her too. Just to let you guys know. Oh, I love when Wendy turned to Mia and said, "Are you talking? Shut up."
Come on now.
I don't know why I just cracked up. B, they did not bring up the Eddie cheating rumors yet. That's going to come up probably next episode. But Wendy was giving it. Wendy was giving it to Gizelle. I like Wendy. She holds her own. I think she shines, and Karen kind of fades to the background.
Which is surprising, because Karen, listen, I can't sleep on Miss Karen. She has some issues, but Karen can read. She can read, and she's very funny. But she wasn't funny tonight. Maybe she will get there. I think I've seen some things happening, but yeah, Wendy was very entertaining to me tonight. She didn't have a lot to say. When she said something, I was listening. She was very funny, and I was here for some of her things.
So I was too. Listen, I like Karen. I like Wendy. I will say with the Potomac cast, I don't really find, I mean, besides Ashley when she's in her bag, I find the cast mostly likable. I just wish producers would kind of just like you said, step back and give us like more like the reasonably shady party moments. It doesn't need to be the party, but you know what I'm talking about. Like
Hmm.
when it's shade and it's deep shade, but it's funny and light and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think that the producer could do it. And I thought I saw a glimpse of Candy's personality at the Reasonably Shady party where Gizelle was dogging Grace for not being able how to drive. And I know Gizelle wasn't trying to hurt Grace's feelings, but I know as parents, sometimes they say stuff and parents don't realize how much you get into a child's head, right? But
Hmm.
because Candace had her mom, she was like, Grace, come here. I'm giving you my keys. You know, I'm trusting you. And Grace was so happy that somebody believed in her. And I know Gizelle loves her daughter and she believes in her daughter, but you know how it is. Parents sometimes just, parents just don't get it right for whatever reason. So yeah, that was, I don't know. I think that's good. Are you going to be watching the next one?
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
You better be, because we're going to be back next week doing a recap. All
I
right.
know that's right. Come on.
That was a chick question. Mel was like, "Do I have to?" And I'm like,
Oh no,
"Dude,
not wait, not this
read
one.
your
No,
lines."
not this one. Listen, you know what? Nicki Minaj, I don't know her history. I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm on the periphery. I don't really get too deep in a lot of these things, and that's why I love watching you because you get deep. You go, you know all the things. So, but yeah, on the surface level, I want to see her ask some questions that we ask here. And what I've heard is that she asks basically fan questions. She don't really ask production questions. She don't really ask what Andy's asking. She asks what we want to hear. She asks from things from first season. Like this,
Yes.
did this ever happen? So I want to see that. And she has issues, I hear, and that I have no opinions about that. I have to really research her, but I'm looking forward to that part. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually. It wasn't. And then, well, Tisa, we didn't talk about it, but the Real Housewives of Salt Lake was very good tonight. So this was a good night from Bravo for me. It was a really good night. Jen has some issues, and this was a good night.
Yes, we did a roundup of Jen's issues. Maybe we'll recap it because it was a 2-hour episode. Maybe if we have time
It
this week,
was
we'll
two
actually
hours.
recap.
Yeah, I had to
Did you
watch it
like it?
again.
Yeah,
I
we're gonna
well, you
watch
know
it
what?
again.
Yeah, because I started here on YouTube. I had to pause everything. But yeah, but I know it was good because Mary was interesting too. So I was like, wait a minute, hold up.
Exactly. It was good. It was good. It was good. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week. Also, you guys know my boy Mel, NYC Reviews. He has his YouTube channel. Go on and follow him, but he's also on TikTok, Mel NYC Reviews. Go on and follow him. I'll put a link to his stuff in the description box so you guys can find him easier. And Mel, is there anything else you're working on you want to tell everybody else you want to tell everybody about?
Well, as I've always said, I'm working on my life. I mean, a lot of things going on, but
Yes.
yeah, we talk. But yeah, I'm definitely want to work. I'm in the process of trying to sort of work with an artist to help me with some different images and graphs for the YouTube channel. And so I'm just going to be working on that. Keep on working with this person and see what happens. So that way I can start doing some possible recordings. I just have to figure out the right time and things like that. But yeah, it's just been good. I love calling in and talking about the shows here. So this is wonderful.
Thank goodness. So we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. The second part of the reunion is supposed to actually be really good, and it might be the Nicki Minaj one. It's either going to be the second or third, but it's supposed to be good. And also, yeah, we'll probably review Salt Lake City since this double episode is when things really start kicking off. And now that Beverly Hills is over, oh, thank God. Oh, only
Thank
because
God it's
Andy and his
right.
double
Mhm.
standards. It was good. Listen, the season's fine, but I really feel like they just need a new host on the reunion. Andy is not an institution. He gets
No.
worse and worse each year. At the very least, he needs a co-host. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cycle him in, you
Well, I
know?
mean, you know what they say for some people, they say the slip is showing them. Well, I'm going to use that same saying for him, honey. Your slip is showing. You're just not doing what you're supposed to do. And again, I can't take him seriously since Captain Griffin. That's just that she is the
Yeah,
person who tells me what he's about, and everything she said came true. So that's it.
exactly. So you were right. You were right. You were right. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And I will see you guys next time. All right. Talk to you guys
Night
later. And
night.
thanks so much, Mel. Night.